following is a world-class Bullshitters exclusive.
Good morning, pop culture. We are live. It is Friday, 8:16 a.m., January 21st, 2022. It's time to rock and roll, and I got some cats fighting in the background. So if you hear a couple boxes fall, don't worry. Nobody's breaking in. It's California. They just let you in because, well, the police don't show up. That's a true story, by the way, folks. I had to call 911 multiple times because I saw a woman get hit by a car once. I saw a homeless guy get the shit beat out of him. And both times when I dialed 911, I was put on hold, and then they say they'll call you back. You know, in Cincinnati, I've had a couple things happen where you call the police, 911, what's your emergency? Yeah, I don't like that it's a crapshoot, but I digress. So good morning, folks. We got a lot of people here. We got, Johnny B. Good's here. Everything's better now. You know, you may not be a fan, but your kids are going to love him. What up? We got Clone Geek, Danny Dorito, Gojira Star. Yes, RIP Meatloaf. We'll talk about that. Ninja Lawyer Steve, if you mean the posters, I will show those a little later tonight, or a little later this morning, excuse me. What up, Southern Cecil? Happy Plague Doctor, we'll talk about that. The writer of one of the best good is subjective, but one of the most prolific and, in my opinion, best Star Wars novels of all time, Shadows of the Empire. The writer, Steve Perry, no, not that Steve Perry of Journey, is calling out the book of Boba Fett. So I find that interesting that we have people in Star Wars again. Well, let's put it like this. The people that used to make Star Wars interesting and great, they're no longer around. They're no longer involved with Star Wars. So we get modern Star Wars, like the fucking Bake Off. We'll talk about that later. You damn right. I don't know, it's a joke in your town. I love that song, by the way. What's up, everybody? Let's see. We got Sam Cortez says there's only one 911, and that's Reno. I love that show. America's biggest little city, isn't that how they say it in the show? I used to watch that show religiously. Didn't realize at the time, because how could I have, that Charlie and his wife from It's Always Sunny were on that show. It wouldn't be until years later, as a Sunny fan, that I read that online and I went, oh shit, I remember that one. Because Reno 911 was my jam. Good morning to you, Jordan. Hello, D. Pensac. What is up? Greetings from Cincy. How's the cold, man? How is the cold? It's 46 degrees here, but I guess it's going to get nicer. High wind warning. Awesome. Great. So, Andy McCallum's here. What's up? I have not, Sam. I have not. So let's start talking about some of our awesome topics this morning. First off, folks, back Wokebusters. Pre-order the comic right now. The link is in the description, I think. I forget to put it in there. Here, the link's in the chat right now. So, folks, go get yourselves a copy of Wokebusters. Last week, everyone was all enamored with, well, not enamored. We were talking about Froskin or Froskin or whatever the fuck. We called her Foreskin here on the channel. And so I thought, well, if you're that triggered, if you're that unlikable, let's just put you in the damn comic. So here we go. We based it off of parody here. But here's our friend Foreskin, aka Froskin, the triggered beast from Wokebusters. Again, all this art is done by me. And as you can see here, we're in the pencil stage right now, getting the body done. It's a talking head, literally a talking head. The best art imitates life, and that's what this person does for a job. So they spew ugliness on TV, so we thought we'd make him a talking head, just like all the other assholes on TV. And so the most fun was, honestly, figuring out the eyes, because that's where the creature really kind of comes together, is in those weird, soulless black eyes, a doll's eyes. I don't remember the rest of the line from Jaws, but I do like Jaws. That was me drawing the cover, and you'll have to excuse me if I sound a little, I just woke up. Coffee has not kicked in yet, and the cat kept me up all night, so yay. I can't get rid of the cat, but Foreskin bragging about her money and Twitter followers is hilarious. Well, she can brag all she wants about her money and her Twitter followers. We have Twitter followers. We make money. It's not really an exclusive thing to G4 and to those people at that class. We normal people, well, we're really not normal here. We're world-class bullshitters. But everyone else that doesn't have their head up their ass, well, we understand what's up. All right, looks like Louis Anderson. Well, so does she. Foreskin the Ghoulie. Yes, I love Ghoulies. Oh, okay. I like Ghoulies in the way that anyone unironically likes Ghoulies. It's a schlocky movie, but it's funny. It's weird how many horror movies I was convinced were going to be scary as a kid, but then you watch them in reality and they're just kind of dumb. They're not scary. They're mostly funny. Some of these movies really don't know what they're doing. That's the thing. Well, what was the one that I watched? Puppet Master was legit. Maybe is Ghoulies the one in the house? Because the one in the Ghoulies is too much. Like they tried to make it too good of a movie. I'm making sure I'm talking about the right movie. Because there's Chud, which is something completely different. And then there's Ghoulies. Oh, well, let's see. Who's playing tonight? Crucial Taunt. They're finishing up their set. Who's next? The Shitty Beatles. Gunner, we do offer certain European packaging, so make sure you guys check that out. The action tier. Mm, mm. Good morning, Ramuno Greywolf. The woke bustin' goes well. We're continuing to grow. We're continuing to rise to promote the campaign. I've been getting we have a surprise sexy gozer cover, and that's the exact opposite of a surprise by telling you about it. But no, that's in production right now, working with another top tier artist, so that's exciting. And then the other cover that our friend Darian217 backed, the Days of Future Past Ghostbusters 2016 cover. I'm going to be sharing some line art of that probably later today, depending. And then the color, I'll be sending that off. Hopefully, get that back early next week because I'm really excited to show you guys that one. It's the final piece of what I like to call, well, I don't have a name for it yet, but I don't like Ghostbusters 2016. And so I didn't like The Force Awakens. So we made Stealing Solo, and Ghostbusters 2016 was shit. So we did this one too. I would love to share the tab, but for some reason, my computer just doesn't want to load anything. I feel like the internet is down. Here we go. So here we go, folks. You guys can back this right now. Pre-orders are available. We're here to save society from itself. And these are the Woke Busters here in action. And this is our action cover, which you can get. Now, Woke Busters is a full graphic novel. I don't sell little comic books. I do 50-page stories plus supplemental material. That's just what I want. I don't want to go to a store every week, or honestly, I don't even like to the point where I have to go out once a month to try to continue a story. I do enjoy going, getting my full experience. And so that's what I want to replicate and give to you guys. Stealing Solo is the whole story. Woke Busters is the whole story. Does that mean there can be more? Possibly. The Woke Busters are anywhere you need them to be, everywhere you need them to be, and more. But once they fight the Stay Woke Trigglypuff Man, well, anything can happen. And so there's a little prelim design of the Woke Busters. We have some of our triggered beasts. There's Floaty Purple, Big Red, and Triggered Blue. And then these are some of the covers, and I'll be showing this one next week. But folks, don't forget the slime. And if everything would like to load, we have unlocked our first magnet. So back that, folks, right now and get an extra magnet, Woke Buster Jeff. No additional charge. And those go to everybody who backs, no matter what time in the campaign. So let's start off this morning with we'll talk about Meatloaf first, since that's the thing that is on everyone's mind. So, like everyone here, I woke up to the news that Meatloaf had passed away. Now, unlike a lot of people, Meatloaf wasn't musician first to me. I knew him as an actor first. The first thing I ever saw Meatloaf in was Wayne's World. Again, we got to quote it just a second ago. But Wayne's World is a top 10 favorite movie of all time. And so Meatloaf is a part of that. Also, I love Fight Club. Meatloaf is a part of that. And later on in life, I saw the Rocky Horror Picture Show. And again, Meatloaf, I know he sang, but I think of him as an actor more than anything else. And that's crazy. But I didn't grow up with a mom who liked, was it rock operas or rock music in general? My mom was into funk and other types of music. So I didn't grow up with Meatloaf. That's really where the disconnect comes from. If anyone's like, oh, didn't you like Meatloaf? He was great. Remember, folks, a lot of music that comes before your era is influenced by your parents. And if your parents aren't listening to it and no one in your family is into it, how are you going to know? You don't. Actually, the first Meatloaf song I ever heard was a parody of I would do anything for love, but I won't eat meat. That was a show on Nickelodeon called Roundhouse that parodied good old Meatloaf. But Eddie from the Rocky Horror Picture Show, like I said, we watched that in college. Well, for college. Let's see. R.I.P. Louis Anderson. Oh, dude, when Louis Anderson goes, I'll be very sad. Thank you, Gunner. Thank you, Gunner. His name is Robert Paulson. Yeah. Bob had bitch tits. God, man. What a great that's a great movie. I own it on Blu-ray. It's one where the twist doesn't make or break them. It makes the movie, but once you know the twist, you can still enjoy the film. I don't think The Sixth Sense offers that same level of entertainment. Wait, Louis Anderson passed away too? Oh no. I didn't mean to try to parody him. Oh shit, Louis Anderson died. Well, fuck, this is a double header. Louis Anderson died and Meatloaf. Well, let's talk about all these stars that passed away. Well, first off, though, Meatloaf, out of respect, we're not going to just cut off our Meatloaf discussion because, well, somebody I know better died. No, Meatloaf was a prolific singer, a big part of pop culture. It's time to show the respect he deserves. So he died from, I believe, what does it say? He died. An official announcement was posted on his Facebook page. Let's read the official announcement from Meatloaf's Facebook page. Our hearts are broken to announce that the incomparable Meatloaf passed away tonight, surrounded by his wife Deborah, daughters Pearl and Amanda, and close friends. His amazing career spanned 6 decades that saw him sell over 100 million albums worldwide, jeez, and star in over 65 movies, including Fight Club, Focus, Rocky Horror Picture Show, and Wayne's World. Yeah. Bad Outta Hell remains one of the top 10 selling albums of all time. We know how much he meant to so many of you, and we truly appreciate all the love and support as we move through this time of grief and losing such an inspiring artist and a beautiful man. We'd like to thank you for understanding our needs for privacy at this time. From his heart to your soul, don't ever stop rocking. Well, so that's what the official Meatloaf group said, or excuse me, Facebook page said. And it's sad. Let's see, Bad Outta Hell. What up, Jerry? We had a Good Morning Pop Culture on Monday. This is in honor of promoting Wokebusters. So, folks, if you like Good Morning Pop Culture, we can move that book and do some more Good Morning Pop Culture. But with Meatloaf, like I said, he was an actor first to me, but tons and tons of people know him as a musician. Andy McCallum brings up Betty White passing away as well, too. Betty White. Okay, so I know this sounds kind of harsh. Not harsh, but let's be realistic for a moment. I just lost somebody in my family. So celebrity deaths are important to talk about, and they mean a lot to a lot of people. But I had somebody close to me die. So not to sound callous or cold, and I do want to respect everybody. So if my voice sounds a little, I don't know, rehearsed or perform, it's just where I am right now. So, but Betty White had a life. She was 99 years old. That's a hell of a run. I wish my grandma made it to 99. 95, but I can't really complain. But Betty White was awesome. Meatloaf was great too. It sucks when your favorites pass away. It reminds you that they are human. Sometimes we look to these celebrities, actors are celebrities, but some of these famous people, superheroes, etc., and you kind of prescribe these traits, these larger than life traits. You think, wow, so and so will be rocking. Meatloaf will be rocking forever. Betty White will be funny forever. This and that forever, but nothing's forever. And so it makes you realize, oh shit, these things are finite. But be glad we had them. Like I said, the 100 million albums that Meatloaf sold, very few people have topped that feat. Betty White was everybody's grandma. Very few people have topped that feat. B. Arthur didn't. But yeah, the Meatloaf stuff was a surprise. Now, I heard he had COVID. So is that another celebrity that died from the disease? No matter what your political affiliation is, no matter what you believe, who should have done what, it's sad when somebody dies. I hate when people go, oh, they didn't do this or they did that and they're dead and I don't care. It's a person. Like reading the Meatloaf thing was like, all right, Meatloaf was this actor / singer that I wasn't the world's biggest fan. But when it talks about his wife and his 2 kids, you're like, it was a person and you care and I care. So I'll get pissed if anybody wants to politicize this and kind of just discredit it. It's like, well, he deserved to go because he had the vid. That's bullshit. K-Stu fan says, am I still in Wokebusters? I want to be a ghost. Well, K-Stu fan, the way to be in Wokebusters is there's a tier to back it where you can be drawn into the comic. Only a few of those spots left, but hey, if you want it, you want it. And believe me, I want to be drawn in the comic, so I am. I drew the comic myself, so I took the liberty of, hey, what's a Wokebuster? We had another backer. Thank you very much. We're the Wokebusters, so There's nothing like drawing yourself. To be honest, though, it's not an ego thing with putting myself in the stories, and this is the very last one I want to do. I want to make this one the biggest ever because I believe in the story. But I do have another character and other things that I'm working on that aren't parody. We're not a parody comic book company. That's not all we do. This is a good story that I believe in and love Ghostbusters and want to have all the fun with it. But yeah, superheroes are great. This is an action comedy. The last time when I read Stealing Solo, I thought to myself, I needed something more. I needed more action. So I kind of there's no such thing as overdoing it. This one, the sweet spot. Jumping cars over bridges and blowing shit up and, a giant battle and a train fight like in Spider-Man 2. I think that's just enough. I think you'll go and you'll read Wokebusters and your heart will stop racing long enough for you to actually get to bed. Or you'll be laughing too much and you just won't give a shit. I digress. But thank you, K-Stu fan. Thank you. Betty White outlasted terrestrial TV says 3 ducks in a trench coat. This would be a really funny video to make or a fun game to play on air, and you guys could actually help me. You could tell me things that Betty White outlived. We could make fun of things that Betty White outlived, like the CW, or we could, terrestrial TV. She came before and after terrestrial TV. So, thank you, Andy McCallum. And same to you, man. Or not, no condolences, but you know what I mean. We're cool, so I know what's up. Man, same stuff to you. But, folks, is there anything else you'd like to talk about with Meatloaf? JD1989 says RIP Meatloaf. Johnny B. Good says, do you think Meatloaf was his last meal? That would be funny. This comment is not sponsored by Raid Shadow Legends. His name was Robert Paulson. RIP Meatloaf. Yeah, it's sad. It's sad. I was gonna say it was a surprise, but most death is so. Especially when it's a celebrity, because we don't know these people. I bet Betty White. I like that Betty White existed before sliced bread. Says Breer 2471 or excuse me. Yeah. So it's funny how on YouTube the let's see, where's it at? View on YouTube. Yeah, it's funny how on YouTube it displays correctly, but on Facebook the title of this morning's episode does not. So yeah, folks, YouTube is the way to go. Betty White outlasted Fox's X-Men, says Oscar-nominated a-hole. That's kind of sad to think that the X-Men, that version of the franchise, is gone already. Let's see. No onions or potatoes in Meatloaf. Yeah, I don't know about the onion part. I'm not a person that likes to put big chunks of anything in food. I would probably blend the onion up very well, but I'm not going to get into food this morning. Jerry says, dude, I just looked up the Golden Girls box set and holy crap, are they expensive? Yeah, I bet they are. A lot of people unironically liked the Golden Girls before Betty White passed away. I don't know. Here's how Golden Girls was for me. And this is a lot of shows on the internet. Sorry, these are a lot of popular shows that the internet then picks up and kind of likes ironically. Like Golden Girls was fine. It came and it went. My grandma watched it back in the day. She thought that they made new episodes well into the 2000s. And that was the one thing I never had the heart to tell my grandma, like, no, grandma, they stopped making this show in like 93. You're wrong. No, she watched her reruns on Oxygen or whatever the hell channel it was. And hey, she was none the wiser and just as damn happy. So what else can I complain about? Clone Geek says Betty White outlasted Dion's virginity. No, she didn't. But yeah, $120 for a Golden Girls box set. Folks, I'm so upset and moved. I need the Golden Girls box set. Actually, no, I have the Golden Girls board game that was given to me by my mom. She bought it for me because she's like, hey, it'll remind you of your grandma. And it did. And it kind of sits on her shelf. So that worked. One of the funniest gifts my dad got was a box set of Magnum P.I. We watched a lot of that. I love 80s shows. I need to get more into Magnum P.I. I want to watch the Raiders of the Lost Ark episode. Now, for those out there, for the one guy listening, yes, Tom Selleck was supposed to be Indiana Jones, but couldn't get out of the contract obligations for Magnum P.I., much like Pierce Brosnan and James Bond from Remington Steele, except Pierce Brosnan, you couldn't keep him away from playing James Bond. No, that was inevitable. You saw the photos back in the 80s. He had the look back then. Luckily, we had Timothy Dalton to pick up in between he and Roger Moore. But you need Goldeneye to be what it is. And so I like to live in the world. Like, I love the world we live in where that's how he becomes James Bond. It would have been fun if he was Bond earlier, but I digress. Now, Tom Selleck has had a hell of a career, but never reached the same heights as he never was in anything that was Raiders of the Lost Ark caliber. Ever. He did Jess Stone. He's on Blue Bloods. He's done 1,000,001 things. He was on Friends. He's a big time TV actor. And he comes from the era too where he was such a big deal for on TV that he transcended just being on the small screen. And I know Tom Selleck's been in movies, 3 Men and a Baby. He's in some other westerns and stuff. But come on, he's not Harrison Ford. And if he was in Raiders of the Lost Ark, we'd be having a much different discussion right now. So let's be honest with that. That K2 fan says, I literally got you a Turbo Man doll for Christmas. You did. I appreciate that, man. It's a great gift. I was going to watch it with Salvador over on 2 Cent Toys, but we had some technology issues. The link wouldn't load. It would take me to this weird back room of StreamYard. So we'll do it next year, but I'll be streaming with Sal and those guys in the future. I'll be over on the 3POA podcast with Laser Pants and some of the guys that you might have heard from the Infinity Equation. And that'll be February 26th at 5 p.m. Pacific. So I'll be over there hanging out, talking about toys, just getting the word out there about everything. Triumphant Rat says, I have the Magnum box set. It's rough getting through the first 9 episodes before they start with the classic Magnum theme intro song. That's how I feel about Miami Vice. Well, I don't feel that it's difficult to get through the episodes of Miami Vice without the theme song. And what you're saying is, every episode has the theme song. Miami Vice has 2 different theme songs, and they're both by Jan Hammer, and they're both essentially meant to be the same music, but one is refined and one is not. So the first Miami Vice theme doesn't have the do-do-do guitar part that everybody knows and loves. It's just the backing synth and like everything else, that all the drums are the same. It's fine. It doesn't really kill it for me, but there's something about when that guitar hits that do-do-do, and you're just like, yep, there's Crockett and Tubbs. Same thing with Magnum P.I. I know that theme song very well. I'll show my age. You know where I know the Magnum P.I. theme the best from? There's an old Han Solo meme where they cut Star Wars footage and then basically put it to the Miami Vice or the Magnum P.I. credits. And so I've watched that probably 100 times. I thought it was so funny. Yes, 3 Men and a Baby was huge. I like that movie quite a bit. Directed by Leonard Nimoy. Rest in peace. Ninja Lord Steve said, you ever get my email? I will pull up your email, and we will read that in a little bit on there. So let's see. Where is it from you? I know who you are. Boom. There's your email right here. And I opened the wrong one. So up crap and stuff. There you go. So let's see. Dragon Brick says, yes, Brosnan was kept away from Bond. Yeah, Dragon Bricks, have you ever heard the story about Pierce Brosnan, how he was getting ready to go downstairs to the press conference and he got a phone call as he's about to walk out the door, and if he didn't answer the phone call, he could have done the press conference and then, whatever. Like I said, I would have loved for Pierce Brosnan to be in 10 James Bond movies and still be the best of all time, but GoldenEye's got to be what it is. It's such an important movie for people my age because, yes, James Bond, there are better Bond movies for some. There are more iconic Bond movies for sure. But that's the one for our generation. It's on the list of the best James Bond movies all the time. And it was just a big event. It's really, there's more to a movie than just the movie. The event surrounding it, the hype, the goodwill, the excitement, all of that. The countdown to Endgame was just as big as Endgame itself. Yes, the biggest movie of all time, but everybody had an Endgame theory. Everybody was on the hype train. Everybody was having fun with it. A lot of that comes with GoldenEye too, that there's, it's a new world and new enemies, but there's always one number you can still count on. Like that shit's cool. And you need that. That's really how you get our generation into Bond. And some of us stuck around like me, became big dedicated Bond fans. And With Brosnan not being that Bond at that time, I don't know if I'd be a James Bond fan in the same way. Who knows if James Bond Jr. would exist? There we go. Clone Geek said it's like watching Batman the animated series without the opening. It doesn't feel right. You know what makes me mad is when you watch streaming shows and it says skip intro. Like, for example, I love The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. I don't ever want to skip the intro. I need to know about being born in West Philadelphia. If I'm going to watch an episode of Power Rangers, I need Rita or Repulsa to come out and go, after 10,000 years, I'm free. Like, I want the intros to the shows. The theme song is a lost art. Really, it is. Even generic ass shows used to have theme songs. But nowadays, they don't even have intros for most of these shows. Peacemaker has a cool dance number. Don't necessarily like the music, but I do think introductions to shows are very important. Like, I like this show called The Rookie. It's on ABC. It was one of the few cop shows that during the cop show purge didn't really shit on cops. I think there's a complex conversation to have, but just getting rid of everybody, that doesn't fucking work. I know I don't like it. But The Rookie doesn't really have an intro. It has about a 10-second clip of some other song and the words "The Rookie" appear. That's fine. It's great for the show. But I do like when you, I don't know, for example, at 11:30 p.m. back in Cincinnati on channel 5.2 MeTV, Perry Mason would come on. It's an old ass show, but I would always get excited to watch the show because the theme song would play. I'm like, oh shit, here we go. It was all part of the event. And same thing with Batman. As a kid, I used to close all the blinds in my grandma's living room and get everything as dark as possible because not only did the show need to be on at the right time, but the mood needed to be set. And the mood was also set by the intro of the show. Same with Spider-Man. Like, when you turn on Batman, you know, the lights get dark, the music starts. Oh God, here we go. You're taken to another world and you're on this noir storyline with Batman. Spider-Man hits, that web shoots off screen, the fucking drum kicks, and you're on. It's a high intensity show. Without the intros, though, how are you going to get amped up? Come on, as a kid, you cannot tell me that when the theme song for your favorite show started to kick in, you were excited. I was standing in front of the TV when the Power Rangers theme hit. I was ready when the X-Men theme came on. I came running in the room just like they did. Like, I miss that stuff. There's just a little bit that needs to be there. And for God's sakes, if they're going to bring back X-Men, you need to start it with previously on X-Men and then start the show. Don't give us some bullshit new intro. I don't want some, unless you're going to take the anime opening from the Japanese version of the show and just put the American theme song onto it. I don't want anything changed. Go back, reanimate the opening, use the same X-Men, and continue the story. And don't you dare change. Don't reinterpret the theme song. Don't re-record it. Don't give me a sound alike. Get the fucking original. It exists. It's not hard, and it's a continuation. I'm sorry, I'm very passionate about the X-Men theme. It's the best cartoon theme ever. I like Transformers. Ninja Turtles is in contention for number 2, but god damn it, X-Men. That's just epic on the next level. Tell me what you guys think. Both shows had Ferrari, said Sander Hammerslag. Yes, Miami Vice as well as Magnum PI. I think Magnum's Ferrari was cooler. Well, the Testarossa is awesome, but remember, Crockett's first Ferrari is not a real Ferrari. For those who don't know, Miami Vice was using, I believe it was a Corvette with a fake Ferrari shell. And Ferrari saw this and they didn't like it. So they contacted Miami Vice and said, we're going to give you 2 cars for free if you promise to stop using that other car. And they had to destroy it on screen. So there's a very famous episode where I believe it's Ted Nugent blows up Crockett's first Ferrari. And the only reason it exists is because to get said real Ferraris for the show, they had to destroy the bullshit one on screen. So they think they blew it up with a rocket launcher or something. And it's cool. I love that story so much. Modalicious says, R.I.P. Louis Anderson, 9/16. I really enjoyed Louis Anderson as a comedian. Not ironically, Louis Anderson was in a lot of stuff that I really loved. For example, Coming to America, one of my all-time favorite movies. Does he have a huge part in it? No, but he's a great supporting actor. He's got a great voice. I think of Louis Anderson also from King of the Hill. So if anyone out there is a King of the Hill fan, you guys know that Bobby Hill is fat. How does Bobby Hill get fat? Well, he likes to eat. And one of the best episodes is Bobby learns of a New York-style deli that opens in Arlen. And instead of practicing restraint, Bobby goes ham on this sandwich called the Louis Anderson and gets gout. So I think of Louis Anderson as a sandwich, a fictional sandwich that I'll never eat. But also Life with Louis on Fox. That was a weird cartoon. I used to watch it with my cousin. He's 13 years older than me, so he got the humor a little more than I did. I just watched it because it was a cartoon and could usually get, an episode of Power Rangers or something out of it afterwards. So, yeah, but Louis Anderson, what up, Echo Base Network? Hail to you too. Folks, make sure you guys are subscribed to Echo Base Network. Nick and Coach are awesome dudes. We've had them on the channel countless times. Always an open invite to have them back on, but they're just cool dudes, and they know what they're talking about. So if you love Star Wars content, and we know you do, make sure you're subscribed to Echo Base Network here on YouTube. So let's see. We're getting caught up with Batman Beyond. The God Jester says Batman Beyond is the best. That is a great intro. I don't know if you know this, but that there's a scene in the intro where Bruce Wayne turns around. From what I've read online, they took a Bruce Wayne doll on a Lazy Susan or whatever, and they just filmed it in Bruce Timm's kitchen and turned it. That's what you see in the show. That random turn of Bruce Wayne, and it looks all 3D. That's like a doll they just turn on a Lazy Susan, which is a turntable in a kitchen. So, yeah. It doesn't make the intro any less great. It just makes it pretty cool to know how the effect was done. I think a great intro includes a theme song that you can hear, and in my head, I can hear that theme song right now. The 60s Batman had a cool intro as well. Batman, that's a great intro. That is the second best Batman intro because it's just so iconic. But Batman shows have tended to have a pretty good intro. Always had good intros. There's the 60s show. Super Friends doesn't really count. Then there's was it the New Adventures of Batman? The one that was from the 70s. That had a fine intro. It was generic, but that's as offensive as it is. Because when you get to Batman the Brave and the Bold, I thought that had a good intro, had a cool theme song. It's a show that I'm not afraid to say I like. Let's see. Theme songs make the show just like Power Rangers, Pokemon, and Digimon. Yeah, Pokemon had a great theme song as well as Digimon. I mean, Digimon are the champions. So that's something. Digimon, digital monsters. Digimon are the champions. See, there you go. I can remember it from 20 years ago. Baby Outlaw. I'm talking about the 1987 Ninja Turtles theme before my time, but everybody knows the words. Again, if I sat here and just if you guys prompted me and I was like, all right, I know that one, and I just hummed it along a little, to me, that's a sign of a great theme song, or I just have watched way too much television. Transformers had a great theme song. I think, aren't there two? There's the original one, and there's a funkier one that's just slightly faster. I still prefer the song. You got the touch. You got the power. Sigilstone 17, thank you very much for everything. He says, if they're bringing back old superhero shows, they need to revive Japanese Spider-Man. You mean Spider-Man? And no, I'm not racist. That's how it's spelled. In a minute, folks, let's briefly talk about Louis Anderson, then we'll talk about Japanese Spider-Man, because I do like Louis Anderson, so let's give him just a nice little send-off. So Louis Anderson, an Emmy winner whose career spanned from stand-up to game show host and to starring roles on TV and film, died Friday in Las Vegas from complications related to cancer. He was 68. So I forgot that Louis Anderson was the host of The Family Feud. Yeah, he was good too. So we have Ray. Okay, so who's the first guy? God, I can see his face in my head. I almost said Richard Donner because it's not him. Richard Bleh. Anyway, there's the first host. I'll get his name in a second. But Ray Combs was from Cincinnati, so it was kind of a thing, Sadly, he killed himself. But the first host that I watched regularly, Richard Dawson's his name. If anyone's typing it, I'm not looking at the screen currently. I'm still looking at the Louis Anderson obituary. But when I started watching The Family Feud, Richard Karn, I believe, was the host, but then Louis Anderson, however it went. But I was watching both of those guys, and I thought Louis Anderson did a great job. Born one of 11 children in St. Paul, Minnesota, Anderson was a counselor for troubled children when he won the first place trophy at the 1981 comedy competition. The host of the competition, legendary comedian Henry Youngman, was so impressed that he hired the comic as a writer. Anderson was soon basking in his own spotlight as comedy stages all over the country had hosted him. Johnny Carson invited Anderson to make a national television debut on The Tonight Show in 1984, and Anderson's career took off. Appearances with Jay Leno, David Letterman, The Late Show with Craig Ferguson, Comic Relief, as well as Showtime and HBO specials further cemented him as one of Hollywood's top comedians. God, he was in shows such as Grace Under Fire, Touched by an Angel, Chicago Hope. He was in Ferris Bueller's Day Off. I guess he didn't speak in that movie. Coming to America and its sequel, Coming to America 2. I was happy to see him come back for that one. He was also a best-selling author. His books include Dear Dad, Letters from an Adult Child, Goodbye, Jumbo, Hello, Cruel World, and The F Word, How to Survive Your Family. His most recent book, Hey Mom, was published in 2018 and combined wry wit and poignant humor while sharing his journey of turning life's challenges into joys with plenty of wisdom he gained from his late mother. So that was Louis Anderson, folks. If you don't know his voice, check him out. He's got a really great voice. So yeah, R.I.P. Louis. So, Sigil Stone, thank you very much for bringing up Japanese Spider-Man. Folks, if you don't know, there was a Sentai show in the 70s, Spider-Man. And he had a giant robot named Leopardon. So let's see. It was a live-action Japanese tokusatsu television series based by Toei, loosely based on Marvel Comics and Toei. So there we go. Now let me show you guys an image of it if you don't know, because it's not as lame as it sounds, and it's better than it actually looks. Is this really on Disney Plus? Oh shit, I guess it's on Disney Plus now. I didn't realize that. Yeah. Wow. Okay. I guess we can watch it. Oh no, never mind. It's part of Marvel 616. Anyway, Japanese Spider-Man was a thing, and if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's a lot of fun. Watch it drunk, watch it high, watch it. Just watch it. Spider-Man is not Peter Parker. He is not just bitten by a radioactive spider. He has all kinds of powers. I think there's a demon involved or something. But if you like this character design, good news. They've just released a high-end SH Figure Arts toy, but if you don't want to spend the money on a version of Spider-Man you're not as enamored with, Marvel Legends is going to get one in the coming months. So be on the lookout for Japanese Spider-Man. It's much more entertaining than the American Nicholas. I almost said Nicholas Glenn. That's our friend. Not Nicholas Holt, because that's the guy that plays Nicholas Hammond. That's who played American Spider-Man on television. If you want my advice, watch Japanese Spider-Man over American Spider-Man, because stuff will actually happen. Now, Wilson, the unauthorized biography of Tom Hanks, says, looking forward to Wokebusters. Thank you. Any chance of a Dungeons & Dragons side story? Possible title, Wokebusters, search for a straight couple who aren't evil. Well, Wilson, Wokebusters can be around forever. And I do, once we hit the goal, have an idea for a backup story, which backup stories like that in Wokebusters just can be a thing forever. That's one of the plans I have with the property, is continue to do stuff, new stories, new comics, new ideas, but every once in a while have a Wokebusters backup story, because the world of wokeness, political correctness, all this shit that's choking the fun out of entertainment, the life out of us, it's not gonna stop anytime soon, and you're always gonna need somebody like that with reason to just kind of get people's heads straight. So yes, all of these things are a possibility, but a D&D side story possible, straight couple who aren't evil. I like that title. I find it funny. Well, in the story of Wokebusters, it's the progressive city that's secretly racist. You'll find out. It's funny. I read an interesting article about Portland, how it presents itself as one way, but it's oddly insular, and it works. So, Wilson, thank you for backing up, or not backing up. Thank you for backing Wokebusters. I'm going to drop the link in the chat right now for those pre-order the comic folks. I've been talking to a lot of people. Got some really cool streams coming up in the near future. But we have one from our friend. Jeff Stark says, it's payday. Just back to Wokebusters. Backer 131. Hope you're doing well, Jeff. Jeff Stark, I am doing very well. Thank you very much. It's a little early here, a little whatever, so I don't want to sit and complain about what, I'm tired. But no, Jeff, thank you very much for that. Folks, follow in Jeff Stark's footsteps. You're going to be entertained. Live action Wokebusters. I would love to do a live action Wokebusters cover in Portland, a photo shoot with the guys. I backed the Egon Proton Pack, but I'm a little upset because I want your guys' opinion. Tell me if I'm wrong. I got a message from Hasbro the other day that says they have changed the Egon Proton Pack. They have not the Proton Pack, the Neutrino Wand, because it went from collector's item to cosplay item, and so now they've added orange tips and made it look less realistic. I might cancel that, and that would make me cancel my Proton Pack with it, because I want film accuracy. I was sold film accuracy, and I want to leave with film accuracy. Is that wrong? It's crazy to say it like that, but that's just how I feel. Oh, Borgporg. Shoot me an email if you want to tell me that story. I'd love to hear about it. Can the tips be taken off? No. It's like in there. Like if somebody goes, well, Jeff, you could just paint it. Why am I buying a high-end expensive prop toy to have to fucking paint it? Like if I wanted to paint it and do it, look, folks, I like to make comic books. That's my art. I don't know how to do dry brushing on toys, and I don't know how to build shit. I don't draw shit. So that takes away the purpose of buying a high-end collectible. I'd rather hire somebody to build me a kit than to buy one that's meant to be film accurate and it's not. So, what's next? I hope there are more Frost titles than Meatloaf. The Neutrino Wand is considered a weapon? Yeah, I guess so. This is something that pisses me off about geek culture. It's become a fucking nanny state. You can't go to a goddamn convention with any kind of cosplay props because you're afraid you're going to attack people. Here's the fucking thing. This is where I'm pissed off. Hasbro is so concerned about scaring people at a convention or offending people at a convention. You're a fucking Ghostbuster. It's a nuclear accelerator on your back. What are you going to do? Blow up the building? What are you going to do? Kill somebody? Capture their ghost? No. Like, it's a Ghostbuster prop. You're supposed to walk into a room dressed as a Ghostbuster. If people don't laugh because they love Ghostbusters, they go, cool Ghostbusters, but you're not afraid. You're not in danger. Like, I get it. If you dress up as Wolverine and your claws are too sharp, you could hurt somebody. With a fucking Proton Pack and a Neutrino Wand, you could do shit. You can't hurt anybody. You can't do anything. If Hasbro, if you make one and you scare people at Comic-Con, good. If you're afraid of a Proton Pack, you're probably a ghost and you should be busted. Just saying. Just fucking saying. Sigil Stone, that's cosplay to the next level. I respect it. I just couldn't partake it. So let's see. Yes, Marvin Leaday, aka Meatloaf. We did talk about him earlier. So up next, what are we going to talk about here? Meatloaf passed away. Amazing Spider-Man Japanese show. Oh yeah, let's take a look at. Actually, I want to save these for the guys because I do want them to react to Ninja Lawyer Steve's posters. Plus, some of them are Dion related. So, but my favorite Dookie's in the outfield. Oh, dude. Yeah, I have to share that online. Yeah, but Gorgira Star, it is dumb. It's really fucking dumb. It's like, I get it. A sword could accidentally cut people. A gun, if you have a realistic looking gun, like, I don't know, let's say you dress as James Bond and you take a Walther PPK. It's a real pistol. People could be concerned, whatever. People are crazy. Shit happens all the time. But a fucking Proton Pack, a lightsaber, anything from science fiction. Like, if you roll up to a convention dressed as anybody from Star Trek and somebody's like, well, your weapon's too dangerous, sir, fuck off. You can't phase them. You can't make them go away. It's just stupid. Like, that's why I hate working comic conventions as opposed to horror conventions. I don't work at horror shows because I want to be edgy and cool. I want to go work at a show where I don't have to worry about being offensive to a kid because our name is World Class Bullshitters or something stupid like that. And the funny thing is, people bring their families to horror shows and sell toys and comics and games, but really, comic shit is so... And before it got woke and SJW-fied, it was pussy-fied. And I don't mean by, like, geeks. Geeks are cool. Geeks and nerds, they're dirtier than you realize. They're a lot of fun. But, like, at the Cincinnati Comic Expo, everything was like so saccharine and sanitized and lame. It was like if Steven Universe was a fucking convention. That's all that shit was. And that's what I hated about comics for so long. That's why I initially quit wanting to do any of this stuff, because it's like, why would I want to get into a career where those are my co-hosts or co-workers? Why do I want to go into a field where I have to deal with people like that? Luckily, guys like Ethan helped create Comicsgate, and you could do it your own way, your own time, with your own audience. To me, that comic convention mentality is why they kill the Justice League and make gay Superman and this and that. It's like this weird bastardization of what it was. I get it. You need to make money with this stuff, but you were making a ton of money when it was dudes in their basements bitching about, Rogue's costume or this or that. Like, the movies made money beforehand too, before it got woke, before it got politically correct, before it got everyone was gay or they changed the color or this or that. It was making money beforehand. All you do is the next great property is never going to come, and you're just going to make the same stories 10 times full over, because nobody really wants to work in a field where people bitch at you incessantly or jump onto Twitter because they don't agree with your ideals. Like, that's so dumb. This is a fucking art field. This is where Spider-Man was created, where kids read these stories and go out into the world and they're inspired. Yet it's a fucking minefield to make this shit. It's a minefield half the time in the community. And it sucks too, because it's like you get attacked for no reason. People don't like your shit for no reason. It's just like any other job, except, I don't know, way cooler. Dan says 2021 sucked and 2022 is like hold my beer. Dan, 2021 was pretty shitty, man. I'm glad it's over. I thought that 2020, the countdown to 2021 was glorious. I was like, oh man, once 2021 gets here, it's going to be better. No, it was different, but just as hard, just as shitty. Patriot Prime Review says, hooah! Well said. Love your channel, brother. Well, Patriot Prime Reviews, thank you very much. I love your icon. I'm an Optimus Prime fan, and I like America. Love it. I live here. Proud of it. But Transformers is such a weird thing for me, where I'm enamored by the designs of Optimus Prime and want to buy that character a lot. I just wish I got more into the other stuff. But maybe you guys can convince me. I do like the comic books of Transformers. Let's see. Just give them the option to put on an orange chip. I agree that it needs to be removable, but it just shouldn't even be there. It's a Ghostbusters thing. That's the thing. Hey, is it Literature Devil in the chat? What is up, Literature Devil? Folks, make sure you guys are subscribed to Literature Devil's channel. And if it's not too late, back Dr. Alpha. Literature Devil put together a great comic book. I have read it. I have seen the art. It is beautiful. And you guys definitely going to want to read that. So you're going to get Dr. Alpha, put it on the shelf next to Stealing Solo, Woke Busters, Cyber Frog, Billy Tucci's book, Graham Nolan's book, everybody's book out there. Go get yourselves. Look, you don't go to a library and just there's one book. There's a library of books. Collect your own. Create your own. Keen James about the world never descending into the darker depths. I agree at times, but there is light. There is optimism. You can maintain the hope, and you don't need to be as lame as Rose Tico about it. But I digress. So let's see what else is going on in the world, because I woke up this morning thinking, oh, we have all these things to cover, but it's like, oh man, Meatloaf passed away. Louis Anderson passed away. I don't like to, I don't want to do shows about death every 5 minutes. So this one was kind of, it was a shocker to start it this way. Plus, let's be honest, I'm going home to a funeral in a couple of days. I'm kind of bummed out. This year has started out shitty. But again, you don't come to the internet to hear some guy complain about his problems. I'm just being realistic with you. So we won't have a show on Tuesday. I'm going home probably Monday night, and then gonna basically fly home Wednesday, because I got to be back and got to do stuff. So it is what it is. But folks, if you're wondering where we are on Tuesday, that is where we are, and that is why we will not have a show. And probably I'm going to look to make some more content this week, so be on the lookout for that. So let's see. I maybe should check out. Well, I was going to say check out Meatloaf music now. Maybe I'll play an album today in his honor. Gamma Epsilon says, you should get into Gundam, Jeff. Oh, wait. Legendary Pictures is making a live-action movie for the West soon. I'm horrified. I won't watch the live action anime adaptations of things that I like. And now, just because I haven't seen something doesn't mean I dislike it. Like, name your favorite anime. I probably haven't watched it. Therefore, I can't have an opinion to like it or dislike it. So if a live action version of an anime that I've never heard of comes out, like, let me rephrase that I haven't seen, like Ghost in the Shell. I didn't see Ghost in the Shell before the live action movie, so I went and watched it. I went back and watched the anime, that was the OVA or whatever they call it. I liked it. But it's hard. I like Gundam already. As in, I like giant robots. I like the weird bureaucracy behind, or the government that gets us to build the giant robots. Like, I'm interested in all of that stuff. But first off, Legendary Pictures, I don't trust them that much. I know they're involved with the Nolan stuff, but aren't they also involved with the Godzilla stuff? Or aren't they also involved with Pacific Rim? That's where my number one, I won't call it a bitch or a gripe, but I don't give a shit about anything with giant robots in live action after Pacific Rim because it fucking sucked. I hated that movie. I thought it was such a letdown. I was going in thinking this is going to be cool. It's like an anime come to life. Holy shit. And holy shit, I did not like it. My friend Dustin has a great story. He was in a bad place in his life and he needed money, so he stole a copy of that film to watch it. And he subsequently just like threw it out because he hated it that much. Like, even a free movie from theft wasn't worth his viewing. Now, I don't condone his actions. I don't even applaud his actions. I believe in back what you like, buy what you like. But I don't like Pacific Rim. And so with that alone, I'm a little hesitant to want to watch a live action Gundam. Live action Lupin the Third, I know that came from Japan, but even that was kind of hard. There's a certain magic and lack of realism that comes from animation or other art forms that when you bring them into the real world, it just doesn't translate. He-Man, trying to make a live action He-Man in today's climate is going to flop just as hard as the cartoon version on Netflix because it doesn't understand the spirit. Cowboy Bebop, the live action, that shit the bed, right? 3 episodes in, they're like, we're not bringing it back. There's no more. It's done. Hell, John Cho got hurt making the show. Yet, ironically enough, we're fucking here, laughing about it now. Robot Jocks. I need to see that movie. Is it Roger Corman, right? That kind of stuff, if it's like schlocky, I'm in. But we take everything so seriously when adapting a property. And that's good to treat it with respect, but to take it seriously and make it boring, that's what a lot of these companies do. So, I didn't realize John Cho was already 50. Shit. The only thing I like about Pacific Rim was the theme song. I'll stand by my thing. She just says, if the Ghostbusters use proton packs, do the Wokebusters use Woketon packs? Woketon wax. I'm trying to come up with a name for it. In quotations, I jokingly call it our Broton pack because, we're a bunch of bros doing this shit. But in reality, right now, it doesn't have a name. It's designed as you see it on the cover. I know what it does, how it does it, all the fun stuff. And there's actually an evolution of it in the second part of the story. So we have to drain the river of Woke at some point. I'm talking like it's vague. We figure out something. We go to the river of Woke. We have to drain it. And then the fucking climax starts because something stops us from draining the river of Woke. There's a huge fight and an explosion. Something happens. And then the car chase that you've seen a couple pages of happens. So I like to talk about the stories. I feel like if I tell every detail, why read it? But it's all there. So I just don't have names. Like, there is an EPC meter, which is like the PKE meter, but what does there stand for? Paranormal Kinetic Energy. R stands for Extreme Political Correctness. So Nick has an EPC meter that will blow up in his pocket the minute we step into Portland. That's as far as I've named it. Razor Fist reviewed Robot Jocks. Razor Fist is one of my favorite YouTubers. I'm going to have to check that out. Let's see. Jada Becca says, I'm actually up now, just seeing what's up. Well, Jada Becca, good morning. It is 9 a.m. out here on the West Coast. I've been up way earlier than I want to be thanks to the cats, but it's Good Morning Pop Culture Friday, so we're here celebrating Wokebusters. We're talking about some of the passings of Louis Anderson and Meatloaf. We're going to be covering some other big topics this morning. But yeah, folks, thank you for joining Good Morning Pop Culture. I know a lot of people like that, and I want to find a way to make this a regular thing. So while we're talking about giant monsters, last night we brought it up briefly, and I want to bring it up again since we're in the right communication. All right, so he said PK stands for psychokinetic energy. Sorry, I don't mean to not read Action Figure Expert. Dragon Bricks asked a question: will there be a story about a woke toaster like in movie 2? Remember the toaster scene where they put the goo in it and it, they yell and it pops? We have a similar that scene is parodied in Wokebusters, but instead of the toaster getting mad and popping, we get exposed to this woke goo, the slime essentially, and we become, for a scene, SJWs, and we start yelling at each other about racism, and we get triggered at all this shit. It's funny. It's weird writing those words and having them come out of our mouths, but in context, it's hilarious. So, yes, we don't have the actual toaster scene because a parody is great, but you don't want to copy one-to-one where it's like, I already know this joke. That's the thing. None of it's derivative to the point where you're going to know any of the jokes. You might see an image of the Stay Woke Trigglypuff man and get it, but do you actually know what it's about? Nah, that's the fun part. We need sensible proton pack control. We do, Gunner. Gunner, you are right. Proton pack control is the #1 problem sweeping this nation right now. When you walk down the street, I don't know about you, but I'm a man. I'm not necessarily white. I'm afraid at all times that I could be hit with a proton pack walking down the dangerous streets. I'm so thankful for dickheads like Gavin Newsom at their fucking garden parties, but I'm really glad that we are keeping proton packs off the street. That's what we really need to do. That is our #1 concern right now, right, folks? Don't worry about this pandemic. Don't worry about people getting fired. Don't worry about people dying. Don't worry about all this money going missing. Don't worry about this and that. Don't worry about inflation. Worry about sensible proton pack control, because that's all that matters, folks. So the right people can sleep at night. Oh my god. Call it the red pill packs. There's a red pill joke somewhere in the story, don't worry. There's also a fucking college campus protest and a Thanksgiving dinner. All those people online, the SJWs, that say, I'm going to Thanksgiving to start a fight. Yeah, the Wokebusters are here to stop all those fights and save a lot of Thanksgivings in the process. Well, Darian217, there might not be a Ghost BJ homage scene in the book, but there's a lot of TNA. So, for example, what triggers people? Tits. There is a busty barista in Wokebusters that one of the characters has the hots for, but one of the cucky soy boy style characters at the coffee shop hates us because we're just guys that you get the gist. You know what's up. He's got the hots for her, but you know what? He's basically, the barista soy boy is like he's based off the bad guy from Ghostbusters 2016, so he's a cuck. But I write within context, for the context of the story. A Ghost BJ scene would be great, but we don't fight ghosts in Wokebusters. We fight the triggered beasts because they get so upset and they outrage. Did you really want to put your dick in that? No. They always tell you to not put your dick in crazy. That's what the Wokebusters. That'll be I'll put out a Wokebusters poster, kind of like the Wedding Crashers poster. Rule number 37: never leave another Crasher hanging in a tiny jacket. Shit like that. That'll be our last one. No BJs from triggered beasts. That should be #1. Sigil Stone, that is kind of in there at times. Don't worry. Walter Peck is one of the best ineffectual bad guys ever. And I know people saying, but Jeff, how is he ineffectual? He gets the Ghostbusters arrested, etc. Look, he had no dick. No one respected the EPA. He was gonna get his just due anyway. Oh my god, lag bait. I would buy this on a fucking t-shirt. I can't make it, but proton packs don't kill people. Gozers do. I'm just gonna write that down. I fucking love that. That's a great concept. But yeah, it's all fun and games until someone gets carjacked with a proton pack. Patriot Prime reviews, if I was driving and someone was like, give me your fucking car, and they pull out a proton pack, I'm going to call their bluff. I want to see where they take it. Like, if they all of a sudden, light it up and it's woo, and I'm like, all right, this is cool. And I start to see the fucking rod heat and they got a ghost pack ready, they can have the car. I don't want my face melted off by a nuclear reactor, but I'm going to call everyone's bluff. I don't think they have the money to get one. That's how great is the scene in Ghostbusters? Actually, I have a button here. The scene where he's like, they walk out of the bank and he's like, at 18%, you didn't even try to bargain with the man. That and let's show this prehistoric bitch how we do things downtown are my two favorite lines from Ghostbusters. I fucking love it. Raumo Greywolf. I apologize for adding the Uno at that. Yeah. So let us see here. Have you guys been following the Justice League stuff? And I don't mean that Joss Whedon is an asshole, blah, blah, blah. The movie was made under whatever. I meant the stuff with the comic, how they're trying to get rid of the Justice League proper again, which makes no sense whatsoever. By the way, folks, thank you for our new backers. I believe we've gained 5 new backers from this stream, and we're only 37% of our goal, way to the goal. So I'm trying to hit us at 50 this weekend because things are starting to pick up, and Woke Busters is the funniest comic of 2022. So grab that. But Pancake, get down. Sorry, folks. The cat. But yeah, we'll find a way. We will find a way. It'd be really cool. In a perfect world, I would love to have a big enough talk show that this was my main thing and could do comics, and that was it. Like, I like the talk show aspect. I like the one-man talk show aspect. It was really a lot of fun this way. It'd be cool to have guests, like, basically treat it like a Conan O'Brien. Do the intro, then have the guests, and then do the outro. Why not? I'm asking myself that question. I'll change that. Am I troubled by the train noises in the middle of the night? That train that everyone saw on the news, the one that got robbed with all the packages, that's not too far from here. That's not a great... that is not a ringing endorsement from where I live. Now, killing the Justice League is just repeating the death of Superman. I agree with that. I think that's kind of dumb. Let's put this image here on screen so people can see what's actually happening. Here we are, right here. The death of the Justice League. Now, there really isn't too much that I want to expound upon this. But I am tired of seeing all my favorite characters killed off for big press events that aren't that big. For me personally, I haven't been able to get into mainline comics for a while because status quo means nothing, and status quo is also dog shit. We used to accept a lot of these big changes in comics because we knew everything would go back to normal eventually. It's like, you don't like the Superior Spider-Man? Okay. Well, he'll come back eventually. And he did. Original suit, jokes, everything was great. I happen to like the Superior Spider-Man. So there are these weird stories that they can do, and then there are stories that they can't do. And a story like the Superior Spider-Man is almost a decade old, and I don't believe that comic book writers have the propensity to create something even as good as that, and that's not the greatest story ever told. It's, it is what it is. Now, this story, on the other hand, the death of the Justice League, I get that you want to build up sales, you want to get people hyped, like for the death of Superman, but in 1992, when they killed off Superman, or was it 93? You had 50 whatever years of goodwill towards Superman. Never in their history had DC treated Superman the way they do now. In the past, Superman was the great American icon, the bastion of hope, light, truth, justice, all that stuff. And DC treated the events as such. When Superman got married in 96, it was a big deal. Yeah, because of the TV show, but either way, it was still treated with respect. The big events aren't big anymore because we have spent 22 years watching, essentially, DC bastardize Superman, and now they're going to do stuff to these characters and kill them off. Why would I care? You killed them off years ago, slowly. Death by 1,000 cuts. Death by 1,000 changes. It's like, hey, you don't like this, well, we're going to change that too to make sure that the racist bigots don't get their say, blah, blah, blah. And before you know it, you've changed the character to appeal to 8 people. So then when your big press event comes around, hey, oh my God, we're going to kill off the Justice League. Who fucking cares? Which Batman is that? Which Superman is that? Is it the gay one? Is it the son? Is it the straight one? I'm talking about Superman. Which Batman is that? Is it this one? Is it that one? Is Superman? Is Wonder Woman? Like, you have spent a decade shitting on the characters. Then the hype around killing them means nothing. I'm happy to see them go. When you hate something and it ends, you're like, oh, good, it's done. You don't go, man, that was the greatest comic ever. I can't wait to come back. Or, man, I wish I would have got more into Superman. I have tried with DC. I bought Action Comics 1,000. I bought Detective Comics 1,000. I've gone and I picked up Rebirth. I've tried with DC more than Marvel. I've given DC more chances, but less money. What that means is I'll buy like collections of Marvel books. For example, my favorite artist is John Romita Sr. Number one person on the planet I would love to meet. He's in his 90s. No, tomorrow is not guaranteed. And realistically, who knows? I don't know how long he could be here, X, Y, and Z. But number one person on the planet I'd like to meet is him. He is my absolute favorite artist, a huge inspiration, and I buy his books. I don't care about feeding the Marvel beast, because if John Romita is going to get a cut of that book, I want to support my guy. And so I have found that I bought a lot of books about Marvel from the past, meaning like these artisan editions where it's all the original artwork scanned in and then printed in a book as it looks. That kind of stuff. But I'm not out there buying Spider Island or whatever the new Spider-Verse book is. With DC, though, I tried every single time. Up until, I guess, I moved. I kept trying with DC. I want to like DC Comics. I walk into a comic book store and I feel like half of the books aren't for me and the other half just suck. Actually, there's a handful of books I buy. I look at a store, or there's a handful of books I know I can buy when I go to a comic book shop. And they really don't come from Marvel or DC. And so this big event, this death of the Justice League, I want to care. I want to, oh my God, I want it to be impactful, but it's not. And now that's just the approach you can take when you've been a disappointed fan. I am tired of these characters getting run through the ringer by stupid people. Come on, these are our great American institutions. It's not. We live in an era where technology is so fast moving and these characters are constantly around, but they're the same as the ancient myths. Superman is our myth, Batman, Spider-Man, these big Wonder Woman, these epic characters, because myths teach you about humanity, and superheroes, comic books used to teach you about humanity. That's where I come from. I don't need to be moved in a comic book. I don't need to always cry, or I actually never cried from a comic book, but like, I don't need a morality tale in every book. I just need to be entertained. And they have found a way to make these important myths impotent, lacking, non-important. I just don't care what happens to our icons anymore, because they don't care what happens to our icons. If they don't respect them, why am I supposed to respect them with my money? How am I able to justify going out and dropping whatever $10 this is on this 22-page comic? No. Sell a graphic novel, a trade paperback, something with some meat on it. Give us more pages. Give us a story. And don't make me go out to get the death of the Justice League and then go, well, come back in 30 days for part 2 and then sell me 50 other spinoffs that don't tell me the story. Like, I need to know, one, I don't need to know what happens here because they're going to bring them right back. But most importantly, I just need to know that the characters are going to be taken care of. Because if they're not, if it sounds harsh, but you're the steward of them, DC. You hold them in your hand. If you don't treat them right, I'm not even going to show up. So, Darian 2 and 7 says, so can we do a Ghostbusters drunk live stream after the Matrix one? I'm getting the Ultimate Collection and I don't have them on hard copy /media. We can do a drunk watch of Ghostbusters in honor of Wokebusters. We'll do a double feature. I was of 1 and 2. Maybe we'll watch Ghostbusters 2016 and vomit on air. I might do that. And anything for you guys. But yeah, we can definitely do that. I wanted to do the Matrix because it's a nice way to get started, but we're going to do these monthly. There's no reason not to. So we'll have our fun drunk watches, and we can do terrible movies, but we can also do good ones, and you guys can vote as well. I watched Ghostbusters the other day. I was working on the page, and I had it on in the background. And I noticed I've noticed this my whole life, but I noticed it extra harsh on Tuesday whenever I had the movie on. they really love to cut Winston out of everything. And I know Winston is only introduced about midway through the story, just like Kendo is in Wokebusters. But on the Ghostbusters Blu-ray menu, they have the Ecto-1, and in the reflection of the window, they have the Ghostbusters. But they're using an image from the end of the movie where they're all standing outside of Dana Barrett's apartment, and they just cropped out Egon or Winston and put the other three in. And I go, it's not a race thing. There are 4 Ghostbusters. There's space for all 4. I get that the other 3 are the big stars, but Winston gets the last word of the movie, and without him, you guys couldn't keep up. It's just he's your 4th man. Like I said, it's not a skin color thing. It's just straight up. Come on, it's Winston. He's not a bad Ghostbuster. I met Ernie Hudson. He's a great guy too. Like, come on. So let's see. We got a ton of people in the chat this morning. Thank you to everybody. A lot of passionate people. Douglas Marsh, thank you very much. Hi, Jeff. Just got in from work and I saw you were streaming. Cool way to start the weekend apart from news about meat. Keep up the great work. Well, Douglas, thank you very much. Hello to you over in the UK. Yeah, it's a fun way to start the weekend, but I am saddened to hear about Louis Anderson, Meatloaf, even in Betty White still. Folks, if you have a copy of Fight Club, go out and watch it this weekend. I think the only thing I would ever recommend for people, like how do you pay your respects, if you even feel inclined to, watch your favorite thing with the person in it. Like, I'm going to watch Wayne's World today. That's what I'm going to do. And then I'll probably listen to an episode of and I'm going to watch my favorite episode of King of the Hill that features Louis Anderson, but doesn't feature Louis Anderson. Winston is my favorite Ghostbuster, says Darian217. I love him. I don't know if he's my favorite Ghostbuster, but here, I'll show you guys this. Excuse my morning beard, but I keep this little Egon figure next to the desk as I'm working on Wokebusters. I don't know why. It's nothing to do with the passing of Harold Ramis, but the more I watch Ghostbusters, the more I like the character. It's just his delivery is really fucking funny. He's so dry. And when I was younger, I wanted to laugh at Bill Murray, or I like Dan Aykroyd. He's still technically my favorite, but man, Egon. I think so. He's the best. I can't. Action figure expert, you know what he says. The last words in Ghostbusters are, "I love this town." It's screamed by Winston. Spoiler alert, Wokebusters ends with Kendo screaming, "I hate this town," in front of Portland. So I think that's one of the few one-to-ones I do copy. But oh my god, I had so much fun with that. Yes, Stephen Kraft, that seems pretty cool, editing Winston from Ghostbusters images. I bought this book in preparation. When I do work on anything that's a parody or stuff like that, I get books on the source material so I can be true to it. And so this image is very close to what I'm talking about. Like, this is kind of what it looked like. It wasn't this image, but they would just crop out Winston. So we're going to treat we're going to treat Egon like he's Winston for a minute. And so this was the image. It was just, 3 Ghostbusters, but even though there was one right there. And so I can understand if they're using the production images, like I said, that don't feature all 4 of them. And there is a very famous photo shoot of the first movie that doesn't feature Ernie Hudson. It's weird, too. He's like the only Ghostbuster. Oh, he comes back for everything, probably because of a status thing. But, like, I think it's time to just throw him a bone. Retroactively put Winston in all of this shit. He's in the cartoon. We all grew up with him. I don't know why they chose to do it. But it's just an odd complaint. It's still Ghostbusters, after all. It's not racist. Let's see. We had a couple super chats roll in this morning. Folks, thank you very much for supporting World Class Bullshitters. Appreciate each and every one of you. This is our year that I want to take us beyond 172, beyond 2, beyond 3, beyond 400,000. The guys and I, we have everything lined up, and we're making it happen. After this brief hiccup of death and COVID, we're back on track starting in another week. So just keep on watching, folks. So let's see here. We have Douglas March. Thank you very much, Douglas, for your super chat. Thank you, Stephen. Here we go. I drink, therefore I am. What is up? He says, just when this day turned out flatulence, here is an amazing break. Hail Jam Ram and excellence all around. Well, I drink, therefore I am. I believe, is that you, Cirrhosis? Thank you very much for joining us this morning here on the show. Since you said the magic word, Jam Ram. There's your Jam Ram button. I love that one. I may or may have not use the Jamaram button to cheer me up in sad moments. So There we go. But I drink, therefore I am. Thank you very much for your nice message, and thank you for joining us this morning. I'm glad that this show can bring people happiness in the middle of flatulence or feculence, excuse me. I can't read this morning. Xavier to God says my day is going to be buying those 60% off and up deals on Xbox on Microsoft today. Yeah, I did buy 6 games for $20, which is it's weird how everything, including price of everything, has gone up. Everything. But I do like how we have a digital landscape to where old games can now become. It's not even that they're cheap. I do like that they cost a couple dollars, but I like that old games are available on new consoles. I am always a proponent of growth. We need to get the newest out there and keep growing, but we don't need to throw away our old games. We don't get rid of our old art. Do people stop looking at the Mona Lisa? Do people stop looking at other like Monet, stuff like that? Do we give up old art? No, we keep going back and rediscovering it. I think an old video game is just as valuable, depending on the game. So I don't think it's a problem to get Bully or Grand Theft Auto on another console or GoldenEye again, as long as you just keep making new stuff. And so Xavier to God, last night on the show, I talked about 6 games for $20. That's the price of a clearance PlayStation game back in the day. Anybody else remember the greatest hits? You get that little green stripe on the side. I didn't have a rich mom by any stretch of the imagination. She worked hard and gave me what I wanted, but there were certain things that, you had to cut corners on. And so I did know as a kid, like, if I wanted one of those $20 greatest hits games, I was probably going to get it every time I asked because it was $20. PlayStation games were only about 40, so it was never a hard get for PlayStation. But like N64 games were 60 and Super Nintendo games were up to $80 back then. So that was a much different discussion. But I do like clearance games. I spent $60 on Saints Row 2 back in the day, and I spent $2 on it today, and I'm just as happy to play it now as I was in 2008. Oh, man. I'm kind of pumped. So, one thing I wanted to talk about is the Batman. Have you guys heard the sad, heartbreaking news? This is the hardest thing I've had to deal with all day. The Batman is the longest Batman movie ever. It's nearly 3 hours long. So the Batman sits at 2 hours and 47 minutes, according to something I read from Hollywood Reporter. I know they say there's no such thing as too much of a good thing. Well, some people don't say that. I say there's too much of a good thing. I like Batman. There is a line I will draw. I like superhero movies. There is a line I will draw. I cannot watch 3-4 hour movies and still be as amped up. It's not an attention span thing. It's not, oh, I'm lesser than or this or that. It's like, you're actually doing less by making them that much longer. I'm not as fulfilled anymore with some of these big movies. Because while it's long, it's not a lot of substance. I'm trying to think of a good example. That just because a movie's big and epic doesn't make it good. I'm drawing a blank right now. I was trying to pull up an image of the Batman so we could talk about it. But sometimes, there we go, right here. 2 hours, 47 minutes without credits. When Matt Reeves' The Batman opens in theaters, comic book movie fans will get to spend nearly 3 hours in Gotham City and with Robert Pattinson's Caped Crusader. Oh my God, thank you. The official runtime for The Batman is a whopping 2 hours, 47 minutes without end credits. Variety has confirmed with a source close to the film. At 167 minutes without credits, The Batman is set to be one of the longest comic book movies ever. Only Avengers Endgame and Zack Snyder's Justice League run longer. Yeah. Snyder Cut is 242 minutes. Avengers Endgame is 181 minutes. And The Batman, is 167 minutes. I'm so glad I get to spend almost 3 hours with the least masculine Batman ever. I think I would let the Joker kill me. Riddler, do whatever. I'll just fucking shoot me quickly. I don't care. But I don't think this Batman can save me or will save me. It's weird too. Watching a superhero movie as a kid and watching it as an adult are two separate things. Because as a kid, you want to either be the superhero, or maybe you're like, oh man, it'd be cool if I was, in danger, if Batman would save me, or this or that. Like, how many stories do you hear about Batman saving a kid from a messed up family or something? Like, I'm sure kids read those stories and go, man, maybe Batman can save me. I don't know. But this version of Batman, it's like, I don't care that he allegedly banged Catwoman. I think that's a cool story. What I care about is, I don't like the actor. I've seen him work. I don't like the suit. I don't like the designs. If it's great, I'll be the first person to admit I'm wrong. Like, I always say this, folks. I want to be wrong when I think a movie's going to suck, because the best thing in the world is to walk out happy. I would rather walk out of a movie feeling like I did with Spider-Man than walking out of a movie feeling like I did with the Force Awakens or The Last Jedi or any of these things. I mean, I'm a movie fan. I'm a fan just like you guys. I do this, but I also get excited, or used to get excited about this stuff. And, as an adult, I watch the superhero movies, and if I don't find them cool or somewhat relatable or at least heroic, I'm not invested. Like Iron Man. I'm really involved with his journey. I liked the rich guy that became the selfless hero, and Civil War made me love Iron Man because you learn about the relationship between his mom and his dad, or his relationship with his mom versus his relationship with his dad. And that scene at the end when he's going to go kill the Winter Soldier and he goes, he killed my mom. I'm like, okay, Iron Man is a little more realistic. I get that. Batman is such a stereotype that, like, you won't get that. You're just going to get his parents were gunned down in Crime Alley. This happened, that happened. And, like, again, it's the DC versus Marvel problem, where DC's heroes are aspirational, I guess, but they're also not relatable. Marvel, I can tell you 10 things about Spider-Man that I relate to. I really don't relate to Superman at all. I think we all would like to be Superman. We would all like to be as cool as Batman, but you don't really want to be Batman. Batman's got a shitty life. Yeah, he's rich, but he's crazy. He's depressed. He can't stop. The only way I will respect Matt Reeves' Batman is if they make you realize how much he hates being Batman and you feel sympathy for his crusade. Watching him flail around on screen and scream and do some pseudo martial arts. Okay, I saw that 10 years ago with Christian Bale. I would rather see Christian Bale again. Like, it's weird how the heroes that we're ready for more of, that will willingly come back and do more stuff, well, we got to get rid of them for the reboot. Like, everybody's high on Andrew Garfield, but the way it worked beforehand was everyone liked Tobey Maguire. Spider-Man 3 kind of sucked. And then they come out with this Andrew Garfield one that no one asked for. It sucked, and then it went away, and they brought back Tom Holland. Like, in hindsight, everyone's like, I loved Andrew Garfield. Did you? Go to my Instagram feed. I got a picture of me when the Blu-ray came out. I got me giving a finger to the box set. Like, I fucking hated those movies. And I think it's kind of stupid that all of a sudden people like them and want to go back and get a third and a fourth of the other. It doesn't change the movie, and it doesn't undo the decade of everything that came from the movie. And one last thing, those movies were what they were and performed the way they did with millions of dollars behind them and the marketing machine and the internet, social media, and all that shit was around for the Andrew Garfield films. There really isn't that much in the world that changed in terms of delivery that, makes his movie better now because the world changed. It's like, if you liked it, you liked it. Awesome. If you didn't, you didn't. Awesome. Me, I liked his redemption. I thought when he saved Zendaya, that was great. I was like, cool. I was happy to see him in the film. He did a great job. He earned his spot. His Spider-Man was great. Shit, Pancake, get out of the closet. But a third movie is just a third movie, and that world sucks. It's not going to all of a sudden be this great Spider-Man. Remember, Amazing Spider-Man 3 has to follow Amazing Spider-Man 2. We don't get to jump into the future. We're not going to randomly change the storyline, right? Because if you want more Andrew Garfield, that's a different discussion. But Amazing Spider-Man 3, oh my God. I'm glad we didn't get it in the first place. That's just me, man. I was there for all of this stuff, as were most of you guys. Opinions change. You don't have to have the same dogmatic view of anything. That would actually be boring if you never changed your mind or expanded upon your views or ideas. But damn it, I'm not going to all of a sudden roll over and act like I like a movie just because the goodwill's out there in the community. Like, awesome. You like Andrew Garfield. Don't change. Don't change for me. Do not change for me. Believe what you believe and stick with your guns. Stick to them. Like, that's the best thing you can do. I'll stick to mine. Let's see. I drink there for him says, I thought Andrew Garfield was a horrible actor until I saw his portrayal of Desmond Doss. I have not seen that one, actually. Emma Stone upstaged Spider-Man and Amazing 1 and 2. I agree with that one, Mark. Let's see. Paying rent, feeling guilt. Peter's pretty relatable, says Lagbait. Yes, he is very relatable. El Gallo de Oro, you're correct. I hope they skip his backstory. Like, how many times do we need to see his parents die? No more, if you ask me. Batman 89 did it best, where Batman was new, and the only origin we got was the flashback, which DC used to trust its audiences. Now, I don't think you guys are in the place where you couldn't remember Batman's origin. I don't think audiences in general, this is what I wanted to say, I don't think audiences are that dumb to not remember Batman's origin. And I'll stick by that. Batman's origin, Spider-Man's origin, and Superman's origin are myth. They're American myth, created by Americans, and the stories we tell our kids at night. What's different between this and some of the great tragedies or the epics or the Greek shit or the Roman shit? Like, what's the difference? You can actually break it down to where they're the one-to-one. But those three stories, how many people know the creation story? If you make a movie about that that's going to feature it, do you really need it told again? I don't think so. And if you tell the story of Batman, do you really need to tell how he becomes the Batman? For fuck's sake, he never gets over it in any of the movies. Like, maybe Batman Returns is the only time we don't talk about his dead parents. I know we get the flashbacks in Forever, which are good in that one. I don't remember Returns and Robin that well. And then Begins is his origin. Dark Knight maybe doesn't show it. And then you hear about his origin stuff again. Like, there's just too much backstory. We keep going back. And wait, it's longer than the Dark Knight, asks Xavier the God. Oh, Xavier the God, thank you very much for your message. Yeah. Let's look up the Dark Knight runtime. So the Dark Knight runtime is 2 hours, 32 minutes. So let's see. The Batman was listed at 2 hours and 47 minutes, correct? So there's your time difference right there. It's how much longer can you handle it? I mean, look, it's only a difference of what I say, 15 minutes. But, 50. We got to see. I just think it's funny that we're basically tortured with more of a bad thing. I digress. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about the Batman. We'll cover it. We'll cover all this stuff. We know what you guys want. And I guess that's March. So we'll cover that. We'll cover Doctor Strange. We'll cover all the fun superhero stuff. It's great to talk about it with everybody. Let's see. Secret Squirrel says, Winston was the point at which the other characters got together and worked through their problems. They couldn't focus on reality without him, keeping them grounded. Winston is an incredibly important part of the Ghostbusters team that, for the most part, they treat just as important, but they're still they still market the movie on Aykroyd, Murray, and Harold Ramis. Like, that's it. That's fine. Those three actors, two of them were more recognizable than by name only, and I think more people know Harold Ramis by face. You got to see him, I think. He's one of those people where it's like, Harold Ramis? And then you show him a picture, you see the guy from Ghostbusters, and they go, oh. Ernie Hudson, I think, is a harder sell. I mean, hell, Rick Moranis and Sigourney Weaver have bigger name recognition. But that doesn't make him any lesser. That's the thing. Like, he's the best Ghostbuster because he tries the hardest. And in Ghostbusters Afterlife, they gave him the happiest send-off. It's funny, for as much as I'm complaining about what they do with the Winston character and all this merchandise, Afterlife really did write him a nice, happy ending. He's the most successful of the Ghostbusters. He turned out to be a multimillionaire because he worked hard. So I like how they treated Winston in the end. Oh, God. Mark says, just remember The Last Jedi had a bigger runtime. Please stop trying to torture me. People get acid flashbacks. I get Last Jedi flashbacks. Sometimes I'm sitting there and I just go, "Oh God, no! They're out of gas! Oh God, hold on, fuck!" And then I wake up and I realize it was all a dream. I used to read Word Up magazine. Oh man. Winston is Robin, important and forgotten by the mainstream, says Dutch Swede 576. I like that comparison. I, at times, am guilty of throwing Robin under the bus. There are great Batman stories that feature Robin, and Dick Grayson's my favorite Robin, but Carrie Kelly in The Dark Knight Returns is up there for me. Not because it's a female Robin. The way that relationship was built in Dark Knight Returns works for me. The fatherly or grandfatherly or whatever, because there's really no romance or anything weird going on. It's just Batman and her, fighting crime. Their message, their goal, their mission is pure Batman. And what I like about Dick Grayson Robin is I like the falling out. I like the evolution to becoming Nightwing, becoming your own man. That's so important. These characters' development. We don't treat characters like they're real anymore, and that's why people don't buy them that much, because you look at Batman. He is the top. He's the coolest in that universe. And then there's Robin, vying for attention, vying for this, vying for relevancy. And then you get him going off, wanting to be his own man, becoming Nightwing, and then the relationship they have as an adult. Like, I like Batman and Robin, and I ultimately like them having a falling out. I don't think Batman and Robin as friends or as brothers or as partners shaking hands like the 1960s TV series forever works. It works in the interim. Batman saving a child, adopting him, doing all of this stuff, training him, indoctrinating him, if you will. There you go. It is war on crime. But we have the sad part about Robin is Robin's just a gay joke, and they dismiss him. We can't have Robin around. It makes Batman look gay. Really? Every other superhero is gay. Superman's gay, this and that. But that's your argument for Robin? Like, Batman and Robin weren't weird like that, but whatever. It's just a product of its time. Like, how you wrote the character in because you wanted kids to have someone to look up to, look into, this and that. And they didn't really write deep enough stories that, like, look, showing Batman and Robin in separate beds in the same room did not help your cause. Like, that's the shit. That's why Robin's no longer that in his costume. Like, really, pixie boots, green trunks. Like, Tim Drake Robin looks cool. That upgrade in the 90s, Nightwing minus the collar, looked cool. Again, like, Batman and Robin, it's a weird sell as a duo. I get why they like to separate them, but I also understand the importance of Robin and what it does for Batman's humanity. Maybe we'll get more of that in the future. Winston was left out of the Sega Genesis game, says Nicholas. I did not know that, actually. That pisses me off. Only Ghostbusters game I played through was the 2009 one, which in my opinion is Ghostbusters 3. Other than that, I have not done a Ghostbusters game. That pisses me off that they didn't put them in there. Secret Squirrel, I call that where the movie shits the bed. We love to play that game actually during any drunk commentary of a movie that we know is bad. So, for example, Ghostbusters 2016, we play the game, where does it shit the bed? Coincidentally, before the credits start. And I don't mean before you even start the film. There's a pre-credit sequence, much like the original Ghostbusters, and it's not funny. It's not scary. It's nothing. It's just there. It's well lit. That's the best thing I can give to it. It's well lit. Here we go. Isn't that awesome? Well, a well lit film, folks. That's where we are these days. So where we are with Wokebusters, we keep moving up, folks. Thank you very much. Like I said, we are at 37% of the goal. Let's move that up to 50 over the weekend. This is an awesome project that I'm very proud of, and everyone that has seen it loves it, and everyone gets excited. The possibilities are endless. It's like last week we had our friend from G4 get triggered and open her mouth and want to put us in her place. Well, this week, welcome to Wokebusters. And so be on the lookout for that. Follow the campaign, get updates and all that fun stuff, and get some slime. I've never seen anyone else offer slime with a comic, or a graphic novel, I should say. So why not be the first to get... Actually, you won't be the first to get the Wokebusters slime. I thought I'd be the first person to actually create the Wokebusters slime. But that's just me. Now, let's see. Xavier to God, your super chat popped up again of you going to buy those 60% off games. I want to leave here and go buy those, but I'm not. We have a show this morning, folks. We have responsibility here on World Class Bullshitters. Again, thank you for joining me here on Good Morning Pop Culture. I'm going to shoot for another one next week. I can't promise. Like I said, my aunt passed away right when I got back from Christmas. And because of COVID and because of her cremation, we had to wait. Like, I just found out the funeral's on Tuesday yesterday, so I'm trying to buy tickets and do all this behind the scenes shit. It sucks. But apparently, because of COVID, there were health slowdowns with the whoever's the coroner for signing off on the body to then be cremated and all this stuff. So it's just been a bunch of bullshit. But yeah, hopefully we get back. Well, we hopefully always do. That's the thing. Like, it sucks, but it sucks for now. It's not going to suck forever. I'm not going to quit or give up. But don't expect a ton from us next week. Maybe later in the week we'll be able to get some more stuff up. But I hate using the whole "I'm dealing with personal stuff" excuse. It's what we're dealing with. It's what we got to do. It just kind of sucks to use that as an excuse, because that's what it feels like, an excuse. It's like, everything's moving. We're finally going. Here we go. Hiccup. But again, like I always say, you don't come to hear us complain. You come here to hang out with us. But I always want to be honest. I love doing Good Morning Pop Culture. I want to do another one. We had 2 this week, but realistically, don't expect one next week. The more I think about it, just with the travel and the funeral. So following week, we'll get some stuff up. But that's why I want to get these numbers up, so we can get everyone in on Woke Busters. So other topics to cover this morning. Well, that's not that. The Xbox merger that everyone seems to be talking about. I really said my piece on it last night. It's just I don't want a monopoly to take place, but I also don't think PlayStation's doing a very good job. So I think they need to do better, honestly. As somebody who has backed both consoles throughout multiple generations, PlayStation 5, for the first time ever, a PlayStation seems unattractive to me. No, I take that back. I'm wrong. PlayStation 3. Fuck the PlayStation 3. PS1 had both versions, the PSX and the PS1. We had the fat PS2, loved it. Skipped on the PS3 because the price was ridiculous. $500, $600 back then for that. The Xbox 360 matched it in graphics. It was a better system. And eventually I did get a PlayStation 3. I knew a friend that needed some money, so I bought it from him. And it was fine. I had 1 or 2 games for the system. Then PlayStation 4, I had about 50 games for the system. So there's just something they're doing. It's not even price this time with the PS5. It's price mixed with the design is ugly, plus the lack of games, ugly controller. I've seen them in person. For as shitty as things are out here, a lot of like big ticket items are hard to find. Things get released here first, especially when they're trying to restock. So like months ago, last year, when people were freaking out over PlayStation 5, like they were just at our Best Buy, and not all of them were pre-orders either. They just kept them up there. But I've seen PlayStation 5s available for purchase, and I've seen people buy them. Again, like what is there? Horizon Zero Dawn and God of War. I have a gaming PC now. Can't I play them on there? I thought so. But the digital world is changing. For the better, for the worse, I don't know. It's up to you guys. It's up to you. So let's see. Life happens. Thank you, Lagbait. It does happen. Now, I did want to talk about, there's a Godzilla show coming out. I know there's a lot of love for kaiju monsters or kaijus here on the channel. One of our friends sent us every Godzilla vinyl figure to our old P.O. box. And actually, I'm just going to throw the P.O. box up here. It exists. I will bring back the Tales from the P.O. box. All you guys got to do is send us stuff. Our friend Liquor Jim sends us these nice postcards. I keep them right here. Like, here's one right here from Liquor Jim. So, boom, right there. Yeah, folks, that is the P.O. box. Send us stuff. We'll open it on air, and who knows? Some of the stuff that people have sent has become part of my permanent collection. Salvador's made us some customs. A listener made me a custom Axel Foley figure, which is awesome. I keep it put away because it's Axel Foley, and somebody went to such great lengths to make one for me, so it was awesome. Xavier to God, you are a very industrious man, and I respect that. I bought a PS5 and sold it for $1,050. Hey, if the demand's there, I get that, dude. So make that money, dude. I can't wait to I don't know, play something on it one day. Maybe if they bring back Siphon Filter, guaranteed. I'll probably end up buying one down the road when Spider-Man comes out. But at the rate we're going, Spider-Man might come out on Xbox and Nintendo. Who knows? $9 is it's schadenfreude. Seeing Sony get fucked after the way they treated Japanese devs and games is funny. Last year, they were the ones that were doing all the censoring, right? Like, oh, boobs, you can't put boobs in a comic or in a game and this and that. Like, they took out the jiggle physics and all the fun stuff. Yeah, that is great. That is so great. I really don't. I care what happens to them, but at the same time, like when you make those decisions and then you have something bad happen, it's kind of hard to care. Andy San says, yeah, too bad you need to buy 3 or 4 Xbox 360s for the life of that console. I had to buy 2. The first one I had was solid from 06 to 08. Maybe 09. It might have made it to 2009. But then I had to do that stupid wrap it in a towel, and it resoldered itself. And that worked for years. And then in 2011, my Xbox bit the bullet. It shit the bed. And so I got one of those new ones. That was the shiny black. It was a reshaped one. And that thing was a beast. Like I said, my shit was stolen. So that's the only reason I got rid of Xbox 360. I probably would still play some of those games to this day if I still had the system. Because I had Rock Band, Guitar Hero, DLC, controllers, the keyboard, the drums, all that fun stuff. That was a great console. Also, too, great consoles coincide with like what's going on in my life. So, for example, I was a senior in high school when I got that system, and then I got one, or I played it a lot in college. And it's funny how people think, well, as a kid, like, oh, college, I'm going to grow up and do all these cool adult things. In college, we just all got drunk and played video games. And so Xbox was our game console of choice. I had one, Toph had one. Dion did not. Dion was a PlayStation 3 kid, and he would tell you about how great it was, and we all just played something else. Now, we played wrestling on his system. It was fine. He's a PlayStation guy. I respect that. But I had so much fun with that console. And same with PlayStation 2. I got that at the end of grade school, and I had a little more free time. I'm glad I was born when I was, because I got to access all the consoles, for the most part, when they were new. The only thing I don't remember being brand new is the NES. I remember when the Super Nintendo came out. I was young, but I remember. Genesis, it was 89. I wasn't going to remember that shit. But other than that, I remember all these things. It's been fun for the most part. Patriot Prime Reviews, thank you for joining us this morning. I Drink Therefore I Am says Sony shot itself in the foot a long time ago. Instead of strengthening the middle market, Sony leaned into the AAA market. So screw Sony and their Kojima fanboys. But at the time, man, it seemed so smart. Sony PlayStation, it's like every AAA game that they're going for just doesn't appeal to me. Like, you remember The Last of Us last year? Of course we do, because we talked about it nonstop. That is a PlayStation game. That's what you get with PlayStation. That's why I don't want one. Well, nobody cares about this SJW content, Jeff. They're still going to buy the game. You're wrong. I'm not wrong, because I didn't buy a $500 console. Was it $600 now? Whatever. Like, I'm not buying your shit because it doesn't have to be politically motivated. It doesn't have to be left versus right, woke versus not. What it is, it's good versus bad. And I don't mean in levels of morality. I just mean in terms of quality. And so a game like The Last of Us 2 or Horizon Zero Dawn or God of War, they have very little marquee value. And I know God of War, people are going, but Jeff, that's a AAA classic. I love the first 3. What am I going to get out of the new one? Like, I got Kratos fighting gods and monsters and high def and the tits and this and that. Like, I don't really care about his story. His this is that. Like, I hate how we've now, this is a fucking problem across entertainment. Please stop this shit. We create these great characters, but then we have to make everything so intimate about them. We have to strip it away and learn about them. It's like, I don't fucking care. It's like the same thing with Batman a minute ago. Please don't give us another origin story. I don't need to know about his scarred psyche. I don't need to know about his mommy and daddy issues. I want to watch him fight bad guys. And it's not that I have no attention span. It's because every so many years we get to this point where we just keep restarting shit. We never see the big epic finale. That's what I liked about Spider-Man. Holy shit, they're not going to reboot the next one. We know that it's going to go on and continue, and that's something that's important. And so, I drink therefore I am with God of War. I don't want to see a new start to Kratos or this and that. I got my Kratos fix. Sell me something that looks epic, not something that looks like it's going to have a great story and it's beautiful. Like, games need to have great stories, but a game with a great story is less important than a movie with a great story, because games are all about the experience and the gameplay. I played some retarded games that had great gameplay, and I played some great games that I played some games that have a great story and play like shit. And I hate the excuse, well, the story was in depth. I didn't care that I couldn't control it well. Nuh-uh. A game lives and dies by how it plays for me. Mega Man X is the prime example of what a perfect video game is. You get enough story, and it's great gameplay, and you're engrossed, and you want to see the thing through. Nowadays, games are so big, in quotations, that they are a slog to get through. Companies, why don't you not worry about 7 hours of cutscenes or 4K rendered whatever in the background, and make these games fun and engaging? Like the Matrix, that Unreal experience, that's what most video games feel like. They're beautiful, but you can't do shit. In the Matrix, you can walk around, you can drive a car, and if you fly, it's in first person and you can't see anything. You fly through buildings. It's a very poorly made game, but it's beautiful. That's what most games are to me today. Xavier God, thank you very much for your generous super chat. He says, I sold the PS5 when I found out I couldn't play PS3 games on it. And Jeff, I can relate. Me and my older brother, HD 360, it got stole, so my brother sold the games. Yeah, it sucks. I didn't grow up in the best neighborhood. Luckily, I didn't have a ton of theft growing up, a couple times. But the reason I bring up the Xbox theft is because it felt personal. Hear me out for a second. The person broke in, they stole the Xbox, the PlayStation, the TV. They left the Nintendo Wii. They unhooked it from the TV and they moved it, and they put everything with it nicely and then left it. That felt like a dig at me. It's like, hey, we're going to take your good shit. Fuck this Wii. That's what you have left. And joke's on them. If they would have stolen the games that went with the Xbox, they would have been very lucky, because I was keeping some cash in one of the games because I was getting ready to go buy WrestleMania tickets, and my friend had just given me money the day before, and I couldn't go to the bank. So I put it there so I wouldn't forget where it was. And they did not take the game. I kept it in a copy of the orange box. So, wow, it was pretty obvious. But they didn't take the cash. We went to WrestleMania. The day was saved. But I think Sony's going into their backwards compatibility game out of desperation, and it shows. Because, I just bought Time Splitters 2 on the Xbox. I missed that game back in the day, but it's fun. It feels like GoldenEye. PlayStation, if you, on your system, here's another way to guarantee I'd buy your system. If you said tomorrow, hey guys, PlayStation 5 now plays PlayStation 1 through 5 games, no limitations, experience greatness. You just won the console war, because now you're PlayStation 1 through 5, and now it's every game I've ever played on your console. And I was a weird gamer growing up too, because a lot of the games I loved were licensed games. So for every wrestling game that I'm dying to play, just get a remaster. They'll make new ones. No, because if I play a wrestling game, they're not going to put Chris Benoit on it, and they shouldn't. But I want to play a game that's based in that time period. So it would be stupid to play a remake of No Mercy or a remake of SmackDown 2, Shut Your Mouth. Well, we took out Chris Benoit because of the tragedy. Yeah, don't put him in new games. Just let me play the old one. And the thing is, I don't even want to play as Chris Benoit or even fight the guy. The thing is, here's a better example. If I want to play an old wrestling game, I want the WWF logo in the game. I don't want WWE. I don't want revisionist history. I don't want shit changed because of reasons. I want it as it was. And so something like that is really going to get me excited. I read at Nerdigans Inc. I like Phil Spencer, but I don't think that's what we're going to actually get. Xavier to God, thank you very much. To me, I see a lot of games focus on graphics instead of gameplay, and then it ends up being boring. I agree with that. We had, what was that? What was the game? Not Horizon Zero Dawn. Anthem. Anthem was going to be the biggest game ever. The jetpack game, this, that, and the other. Holy shit, Anthem's changing it up. Look at those graphics. Look at that. Look at the world. Look at the online. That game flopped, right? Like, nobody played it. It didn't do well. Another thing, too, so many of these games are very homogenous. They all look and play very similar. I once bought a James Bond game that had the exact same buttons as Call of Duty. Okay, fine. Nowadays, when I play most shooters, they all play like Call of Duty. I know it's good to have a uniform gameplay across the board, but it's like they all feel the same. Like Halo feels different enough to justify playing Halo and Call of Duty. But Call of Duty feels like Battlefield, which feels like Battlefront, which feels like this, which feels like that. It's all one big, ugly gray mess. Was I a Raven guy? I was not a Raven fan, but I don't dislike Raven. I like him in WCW and ECW, but WWF Raven was fine. The way it worked as a kid was if it wasn't The Rock, it had to be Chris Jericho. Everyone else was fine, or I hated them. But, well, no, that sounds crazy, because I loved the Hardy Boys and Too Cool. I liked Rikishi. Undertaker was good. There were a lot of good wrestlers that I liked, but point is, if it wasn't The Rock, I just didn't care. I have Doom 2016. I bought it for the Switch because it was $3 before I had an Xbox. Now I play Doom Eternal. Doom Eternal's great. I'll just put shit on Twitch and stop talking about it. El Gallo de Oro, take your sign though. You make us proud. I'm trying to find where the original one was, because he said I might get it taken. El Gallo de Oro says, if I have really good seats, I'll make World Class Bullshitter sign. Do that. Use one of our phrases or something. If you get us, put it like this: anyone out there, if you wear a shirt to a convention and get us on social media, or if you wear a t-shirt of ours on television and you can take a screenshot, I'll send you free stuff. El Gallo de Oro, if you get us on WWE programming or AEW, I'll send you a free shirt of your choice, because that would be awesome for me as a fan. But yeah, that offer stands, folks. Get us on TV somehow. We'll send you free stuff. Don't worry. Nerdigan says, Phil Spencer tweeted that Xbox cares about their relationship with Sony and how important they are to the industry. So Microsoft, when can Rare make a new Donkey Kong and Banjo-Kazooie games for Nintendo? Excellent question that they're not going to answer, because look, we all know how PR works. As much as I hate it, you got to live in it. You got to deal with it. We all have PR that we have to deal with. Look, you have to deal with it at your job, even though it's on a different scale. It's still PR. If Phil Spencer waved the money dick and they're like, we're going to do this and we're going to put Xbox is going to put Sony out of business. Yeah, it's going to be thank you, Oberon. We'll talk in just a second. But yeah, like, they're not going to be as benevolent as they're acting. As a fan, I like how they're getting us GoldenEye. Like, whatever steps they've taken to bring us GoldenEye again, I will be a fan and just say, I don't care what they had to do. GoldenEye is my favorite video game, and it's coming back, and I'm happy. It's weird as a fan. Like, I'm very miserable as a James Bond fan because I hate the current actor, and then they did what they did in the new movie. But bringing back Pierce Brosnan, I don't need it in a film. But if I can play GoldenEye again, I'm happy. I'm happy as a clam. Keep all your fans happy. You don't have to live in the past or only shoot for the future. You can have everything. Use that PlayStation 5 Utopia I talked about. PS1 through 5 on one console. Everything for everybody on one console. Now, Nerdigans Inc., though, I think Nintendo might be the hardest one to get to do stuff. When they're in a position of design. Nintendo has spent so many years saying online is stupid, this is dumb, blah, blah, blah. And then when the future gets here, they're kind of fucked. And so now they realize the importance of online, and their Nintendo 64 service is kind of ridiculous. They're doing whatever they can do to get those classic N64 games. The N64 is the generation that Nintendo seems to like to jump away from or pass over because they didn't win the console war, they didn't have their best sales, blah, blah, blah. But that's the system everyone's nostalgic for because we all grew up with it. Now's your window, Nintendo. you should be running hard with the N64 hype as well as producing new content. Like 16-bit games are passe, as in like trying to create a new 16-bit game to get us excited. And you can't really make a 2D side scroller anymore for a big franchise. But, just please, 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 please find a way to keep everyone happy and don't sell us bullshit services. Like, include a controller. Don't make it so hard to get a controller to play your online shit. Oberon says, world class bullshitters, how can I order your Wokebusters from Denmark? I need your comic. I want it. Please. Seriously, how? I love your channel and you guys. Well, right now, so if you want everything, if you go to shopwcbs.com, you can pick up your shirt and your poster for Wokebusters today. There is the digital one. We did offer the action pack to more countries. What I'll probably end up doing is creating a European package for those, because it's like ridiculously expensive to ship, and I feel weird. Like, it's $40 minimum to ship to the UK. Like, that's ridiculous. I guess because I'm a consumer and I feel like, oh my God, I feel like I'm doing something wrong to you guys, but that's how much it costs. And so I guess it's a weird cognitive dissonance. I've done the research. That's why the action pack is available for Germany and England right now, because USPS has their rates, and that's just what that shit costs. It's, a stealing. I use 1-to-1 because it's going to be the same weight, a net weight of a stealing solo package versus what a Wokebusters package will be. Roughly about 2 to 3 pounds, and a package like that, according to USPS, that is not something I am trying to do to make money on shipping. Actually, I would rather break even. That's it, because it's a stupid service. I know, whatever, but that's why right now. So Oberon, if you really want the shirt and the poster, you can get that from Teespring right now. Shop WCBS. They will ship that out to you right away. And digital edition is going to include all the everything. It's going to be like, basically, you're not just going to get a PDF of the book. You're going to get special stuff made as a thank you because of the way things are. So just be on the lookout for that, Oberon. And the more we go, I'm talking to other creators, and if I find more viable means, I want everyone. We're called world-class bullshitters for a reason. It's not fun to just be domestic or not. Look, I'm proud to live where I live and whatever. You take the good with the bad, but I'm also not in the business of punishing people who don't live here just because of some weird pride or whatever. It's just, with the stupid pandemic, everything's gone up in price, and now it's affecting us at this level. Like last year with Stealing Solo, the pandemic prices hadn't affected us. It hadn't hit us. There weren't any shortages and shit. Like, that book, it did it. We crowdfunded it and we launched it and had it out and stuff within the months. And it's just, everything's changed now. I don't know. I guess middle of last year, we finally hit that stopping point. I don't follow every current event, just the ones that follow me or that affect me. But, Oberon, that's it. That's legitimately the thing. I love the hype. I love the excitement. I would love to personally bring you a copy of the fucking book myself and talk about it. That's how into this book I am. Really. I believe in it. It just sucks that the delivery system in the world is bullshit right now. So whatever we can do to grow, if you guys got ideas, if you know avenues, let me know. Like I said, I talked to other Comicsgate professionals, and it's just certain things that suck the way it is. Down the road, create my own publishing arm. Maybe we'll even have a European distributor. That'd be fun, wouldn't it? I do have one big goal, and it's basically to establish relevancy in another country too. So it's part of my business plan. We'll talk about it down the road. But Oberon, thank you for the hype. Folks, thank you for everything, the support. I appreciate everything. We're here because of you guys, and we're going to continue to cover the content you want. We'll talk about geek culture, pop culture. I don't like to cover politics per se, because what's the point? Did you really subscribe to this channel to hear me talk about my views about a senator or a president or this or that? No, you don't. If it affects our channel, if it affects entertainment, I'll cover it to the end of time. But I'm not going to sit here and talk about, the shit you really don't care about. That's the thing. Nicholas says, the N64 was the start of their modern 3D games. God, I had a great time with it too. It's weird being nostalgic for what is so ugly and choppy and this and that. But man, when you have a good time as a kid, that's all that matters. And I know other games have advanced first-person shooters, but GoldenEye is still the tits for me. Really, what a game is, we talk about these experiences. We want to have these experiences put you in the game. Well, as we make games more accessible, or I don't want to say accessible because that's not the right word I want to use. As we make these characters more progressive or woke or whatever, not even woke, the right phrase I'm trying to say is like James Bond was fantasy fulfillment. I got to be James Bond in that game. I got to be something I couldn't be in the real world, but be something I really wanted to be. That's 007. I got to go around. I got to shoot people. I got the girl in the end. Like, I got it all. That's why that game was it was great too. It was fun. I had my, countless hours with friends blowing shit up, shooting each other in the head, the dick, all that. It was great. But the experience of being somebody that I want to be, that is what made that game so memorable. And that's what makes me want to go back, because I still want to be that version of James Bond. Everyone has their childhood heroes. Maybe it's Spider-Man, maybe it's Han Solo, maybe it's Master Chief, or the wrestler Shawn Michaels, or I don't know, Sub-Zero, Superman, somebody. But you all want to be that character to some regard. It'd be cool to be able to just, shut your brain off for 2 hours and get to be Superman. When we figure that out again, and what it is like, we have tailored the experience so personal to each user and consumer that we've taken out the spirit and the soul of the product, of the project, of the art. To be James Bond used to mean something. Now James Bond is afraid of being James Bond, afraid of being offensive, afraid of being sexist. So it's a shell. It's James Bond in name only, or Gino. Jabino, that'd be funny. And then you just straight up, you're playing a lesser version of. So you're not really getting that experience. Like, I'm trying to think of another Spider-Man PS4. Why do I gravitate towards that game? Because I love Spider-Man. I don't really want to be Spider-Man, but part of me wants to experience the good parts of being. Like, we all want to be Spider-Man, but not Peter Parker. And that game helps you live that fantasy. You get to swing around the chasms of New York City. You get to fling your body at high speeds through the air, saving people, swinging on webs, fighting crime, being Spider-Man. So many of these games today, they don't need to be licensed, but you got to create a character that you're invested in. Resident Evil has great characters that I got invested in when I played those games. Today, it's just this character, it's that chick, it's this, it's that. It's, because they represent the creator and they're diverse and this and that. I don't give a fuck. I really don't give a fuck. So let's see here. Can we have another Fanboys watch party? I don't mind doing repeat things so many years after the fact, because new audiences come in all the time and you guys want to experience it. I know it's like, oh, we watched Ghostbusters 5 years ago. Yeah, but it's 5 years ago. I watched it 5 days ago and I'm ready to watch it again today if I really wanted to. But we can do stuff like that, pursuing paranormal. I wouldn't mind an annual Last Jedi watch party where you drink and you try to forget. I think that would be fun. We have our annual Oscar party, which we have our year 4 planned. We're going to be in Cincinnati, so all the guys are going to be together in the same room. So the watch party for the Oscars is going to be a fucking event. We might get kicked out of the apartment we're renting, so I don't know. Thank you, El Gallo de Oro. What up, Keely Chow? Good morning. You have joined us for Good Morning Pop Culture. We are live. Nerdigans Inc., the Wolverine game is going to be amazing. The Wolverine game is going to get me to buy a PlayStation. Wolverine is my second favorite Marvel character. And it's strange how late in the game he became a favorite. I loved the X-Men show as a kid, but I was a Cyclops fan. Wolverine was just there. So, like, anytime I would get an X-Men something, because it wasn't a ton of toys, but, like, let's say I got, like, an X-Men trading card set or candy or something like that, and Cyclops wasn't there, but Wolverine was, I was always kind of, like, just looking for Cyclops. It was my dude. It was the design, honestly. It wasn't the character. It wasn't anything he stood for. I just thought that Jim Lee design was perfect. I still do. I still do. I would do that, Oberon. I would definitely do that for you guys. If that's something we can make happen, it wouldn't be a problem. I remember, just remember this. I want to get this shit in front of everybody as much as possible. So right now, if there are weird hoops that we have to jump through to get these books to you, I will make that happen. We have people here. I've actually the success of the last campaign helped. I have a fulfiller now, so somebody's going to actually help and come work and do this stuff so we can get stuff out even quicker. For those that backed the Stealing Solo Fandom Menace Edition, how did my iPad fall down here? Yeah, it fell under my desk chair. That's not cool. But no, what I was saying though is with like these Fandom Menace magnets, which I'm trying to find because I keep. There should be a set here. I hired somebody to sit and to bag them up. So it's like, oh great. When I get these things in the mail, they look like Thin Mint cookies, and they come in a stack, and they look, well, hold on, I'll show you what they look like when you see them. Wrong button. They look like this. They look like this from the back. So you get these like stupid little things, and there's 1,000, 1,200 in each or whatever. And so, they're cool little magnets, but they take forever to sit. So I hired somebody to sort them. So for those people, shit, Pancake, stop. For anybody that got them, you got them in this baggie. I did not do that, thankfully. So, yeah, Oberon, I'm going to take a screenshot of this. I'm going to talk to some other people who do stuff like that. Let's make it happen. Let's get Woke Busters in front of everybody on the planet. We can do that. Just spread the word. This is the story that kills political correctness. We don't want this shit in our entertainment. So what do? We make fun of them so much for it that they stop. We can do that together. Yeah, Sigil Stone. I was one of those special Cyclops fans. Shit, Pancake, stop. You're ruining the show. And he listened. I'm showing you guys something since we can have a good laugh at my Cyclops love. For those who are collectors out there, this is how much I love Cyclops. I got the high-end Cyclops. Like, yeah, it's this design. It's just straight up the suit that I love. I think Cyclops is more compelling when he's written by Claremont and drawn by John Byrne as a character. But the Jim Lee Cyclops is what I saw as a kid, and I just want to. It's so basic. The reason I talk about it like I do. That's why nostalgia works. That's why this shit works on people, because everybody's like the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase said, everybody's got a price. For decades, it was the Ninja Turtles and the Transformers and He-Man, and everybody had a price. If you grew up, you were buying that shit. And now it's our turn. It's Power Rangers, 90s shit. Everybody's got a price. There's not a single person out there. There's something for everybody. And mine just so happens to be Cyclops, drawn by Jim Lee. But man, Pancake is by no means ruining the show. Now he's just sitting here on top of the comic book mailers and being kind of cute. I'm going to go in a minute because I do have to feed these boys. Plus, we try to keep the show at about 2 hours, which is a nice way to spend your morning with Good Morning Pop Culture. So, yeah, let's... Oberon, thank you, Oberon. Very nice message. I appreciate all the support, all the love. You guys are awesome. Fandom Menace, whatever you want to call everybody. Great community of people that I'm really happy to know. So I am yelling shit Pancake. That's his name. Basically, the way he got his name was he knocks stuff over. He likes to run his head into stuff. And we were drinking something and he knocked it off the table. I'm like, oh, you little shit. And then it becomes shit head, shit brick, shit this, shit that. And it eventually became shit Pancake. And I'll tell you this story while this plays. But it becomes shit Pancake and it sticks. Jesse and I look at each other and we go, oh, that's a good name. And so there's a Shit Pancake channel on YouTube. If you guys want to watch Shit Pancake in action and see videos of me interacting with Shit Pancake, join our channel over there. But right now, folks, before we go, back Woke Busters. We want to get this thing to 50% of its goal over the weekend. We're only at 37%, but that's not too much to get to. That's not too much to ask for. This is the comic that's going to change everything. So, folks, I'd like to thank all of our new backers during this stream. And this is based off of our G4 lady from last week. This is Froskin. She's crazy. She's ugly. She's a big talking head, literally. So, folks, stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff I like to do, the type of humor, yeah, I do want to talk about how shitty these people are and how much they're hurting entertainment, but I also want to have a good laugh at them in the process. So that's what we do. If it's been woke in the last couple of years, it's probably going to get busted by the woke busters. But folks, you have 23 days left for that, and we're going to make that happen. I'm in contact with Robot Head. We're working on a stream time. I got a couple other big streams in the works, as well as some other surprises here. I actually got to work with another artist, and this is an exciting cover because it's a sexy gozer. It's neat being in Comicsgate, etc., when it's like, oh, I need to do this thing. So-and-so knows the person, and then you guys can make it happen. That's what I love about creating your own independent stuff. Everybody helps everybody. Anna and I, last week we talked. Anna helps. I was talking with Mandy Summers, all kinds of great people that want to see each other succeed. So that's why I'm happy to work in this sphere, because it's awesome. It's not some weird hippie mentality shit. It's everybody has to do their own stuff. But it's also not cutthroat. We're also not trying to hurt people or watch them fail. Like I'm happy to see guys like Drew succeed. I'm happy to see Mandy and Ethan and Cecil and everybody succeed. There's no, that's what's great about this. There's no bottom line that we have to we're played against each other or anything like that. It's just good art that we're proud of, that we get to make and sell directly to you guys because you're comic book fans. You're into this stuff. So thank you guys. Is what I'm trying to say in a roundabout way. Thank you for making this all possible. We couldn't do it without you. We wouldn't be here without you. And I'll be back maybe Thursday with the podcast. Like I said, I got to go home and deal with the funeral of my Aunt Pat. She was my absolute favorite. She put it like this. My mom and grandma raised me, but Aunt Pat was right there along with her. So I had an interesting childhood where my mom did not have a lot of money, but I was able to do things because my grandma would help or Aunt Pat would help. So for example, my mom worked to send me to a private school, Catholic school. And so grandma would help by, picking me up from school or cooking for me or letting me stay with her X, Y, and Z. But Aunt Pat, she'd have me out for the weekends. She'd take me on vacation. Like she took me on so many great vacations. That's the thing that, look, you don't remember the people for what they give you. Remember the experiences you have with them. And I'll never forget the first vacation we went on was 2001. We went down to Gatlinburg, and that was a great trip. We almost ran off the road. My uncle flooded the jacuzzi. It was a great time. But then, a couple years later, Aunt Pat took me to Williamsburg, Colonial Williamsburg, which is a fun vacation. It was the same summer, 2004, that Spider-Man 2 was coming out. And I remember HBO ran a special, and I was like, can we please stay in so I can watch this? And so we were late for dinner because I had to watch this HBO special on Spider-Man 2. I miss having that level of excitement for stuff. That's like peak hype for me. Spider-Man 2. Like, remember, Spider-Man 1 changed everything. That's the movie that made me want to be an artist. That was the movie that got me into liking comics more than just liking comics. Like the creation, the behind the scenes, knowing the artist, knowing the writer. Like it was that movie. And so all that hype and that goodwill is still there, actually. I still feel it all the time. But man, when I knew another Spider-Man was coming, I couldn't wait. But, a little aside, besides that, my aunt was awesome, always there, every Christmas, this, that, and the other. I was lucky. I was very lucky to have that. So that's why certain things have been slow. It really hit hard. Like when my grandma died, it was a slow vacuum for a while. Luckily, we had the Fandom Menace campaign to help get out of that. Luckily, there's Wokebusters now to help with this. But it just 2020 and 2022 started the same way. But I'm not going to let them end where I'm anxiously awaiting the next year. No more of that shit. We're all here. We're going to have some fun. How are you? So, folks, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to feed these cats. I'm going to finish the Wokebusters cover. If you're wondering what it is, like Darien 2 and 7, imagine Ghostbusters 2016 meets X-Men Days of Future Past. If you're a comic fan, you know the cover in your head. It's Kitty Pryde and Wolverine with the spotlight and all the posters of the dead X-Men. Well, ours is the Wokebusters in front of the spotlight, in front of all the rubble and debris of, Hollywood. But, our dead poster might feature some females and some effeminate director who likes to wear ties. And so this is how busted makes me feel good. I busted those idiots right to the back of this fucking book. So, folks, be on the lookout for that. I'm going to work on that right now. So, folks, thank you for watching. Be smart, be safe, be cool. Oh, I did forget this. Hold on. Denny Smith. Which writer called out the Book of Boba Fett? Shadows of the Empire novelist Steve Perry eviscerates the Book of Boba Fett. The stupid is strong here. So for those who don't know, Shadows of the Empire is one of the biggest Star Wars multimedia crossover events ever. It was released in 1996, and it had the novel, the comic, the video game, the toy line, the soundtrack, and a little more. It was everything a Star Wars movie was minus the Star Wars movie. And at that point in time, we hadn't seen Star Wars since 1983. It would be another 3 years until we get to the Episode 1 Phantom Menace premiere. And so Shadows of the Empire was really big. Like, you had your small VHS relaunch. Shadows of the Empire was huge and really carried over into the special edition. That's why for a kid like me, Star Wars was kind of was a nonstop property as soon as I discovered it when it relaunched, because it just kept going. So Shadows of the Empire is one of the best. It features Boba Fett. It features Prince Shizor, Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker. If you're wondering what the story is, folks, it's basically they're on the hunt for Han Solo after Empire Strikes Back. This is to get Han back from Boba Fett on the way to Jabba the Hutt. So Steve Perry made his opinions known about the show in a post on his Facebook page where he didn't hold back and heavily criticized the writing and directing of the episode. He began his review by mocking the show, describing it as Blabafett. The third episode of Blabafett is not to set the bar too high, better than the first two, up to a point. At least there are bubbles rising in the back of the tank. He continued, of course, the idea of why we should show, or why we would show you when we can tell you, is majorly evident. Perry didn't let up his criticism. Instead, it got harsher. He wrote, reminiscent of the opening exposition of the not-so-well-written, well-made play wherein French maid and a butler come on stage to explain each other in labors, all the detail of the background information the audience needs to know before the action starts. Well, if you recall, Fifi, young Master Archibald suffered greatly from his experiences when his coach was set upon by highwaymen, mocked Perry. And he goes into the results. Apparently, I don't really want to tell the joke, but anyway, he praised the introduction of Black Chrysanthemum, writing the Wookiee Black Chrysanthemum, pirate sounding name if you ever saw one, is seriously a badass. I'll give him that. However, that's where his praise stopped. And he would again take issue with the show's writing. Then again, he doesn't really need it to be all that good because we have Boba Fett's security to offset that, don't we? Geez Louise, do they even leave the front door open? The alarm's off, and all his guards doused eyeballs on Ambient and smoking weed, he elaborated. Perry didn't let up. A 9-foot-tall Wookiee who makes Chewie look like a shrimp, and with no known history of being invisible, just waltzes into the fortress, lumbers down the hall into the clinics, pulls Fett from his back to tank, and beats the crap out of him, and nobody notices? Somebody call me Acme Rent-A-Guard. Whatever Fett is playing his team is way too much, he added. From there, Perry criticizes the director by imagining a conversation between the director and somebody with half a brain. He begins, I can hear the writer. Nah, probably the director. You know what would be cool? Big gladiatorial Wooks grab Fetts out of the tank and kick his ass. He finally concluded, the stupid is strong here. So Steve Perry's name does hold weight. He's a great singer. I don't like Journey, but come on, how can you not like Foolish Hearts? All joking aside, though, Shadows of the Empire is a very good book, a very important. Put it like this: Steve Perry has the authority to say this shit. This is a kind of guy, like when J.W. Rinsler spoke out, which we were lucky to have on the channel. That was one of the coolest streams I ever got to do. Folks, if you haven't had a chance to check that out, Old High Council featuring J.W. Rinsler. It was actually just a one-on-one interview with him, and it was great. But a guy like Steve Perry calling out the Book of Boba Fett, Steve Perry is responsible for creating one of the best non-Star Wars, one of the best non-film Star Wars projects ever. So I will take his word authoritatively. But I've also seen the show, and where I get all my opinions from is myself. And I've watched a couple of the episodes now. I got to catch up. Peacemaker's a better show. Like, if you have only time to watch one streaming show and you have to watch one of those two, at least Peacemaker's funny. Like, John Cena's, I don't respect him and what he did and said for that stupid Chinese bullshit. But he's entertaining. It's what it is. It is what it is. There you go. It is what it is. So, folks, thank you very much for joining us. Yeah, Don't Stop Believing. I used to not like that song, and then I don't know, I just got happier, and now I like that song. I don't love it, but like when it comes on, I'm like, I won't stop believing. I will hold on to that feeling, Steve. Thank you. Andy San says, Steve Perry is an old man, an old white guy. His opinion doesn't matter anymore. Maybe? I'm just joking. It does. You know what I mean. And I know what you mean. Sarcasm. So, folks, there is the link in the chat right now. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to get to work on that X-Men Days of Future Past style cover. Melissa McCarthy, it takes a long time to draw, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to get out of here. I'll be back next time with more. Be on the lookout. I got a video. I'm going to narrate that of me drawing the Wokebusters cover that you've been looking at. And you can check out our Froskin SJWG4 video over on Twitter, and I'll be uploading that here on the channel. So in the meantime, folks, be smart, be safe, be cool. Thank you for joining us. But always be excellent to each other.